don't know what to do, Ton. They have me.
But you're a hero, Wraith. The supplies you snuck back to us are the only reason we've lasted this long. Don't give up now.
It's over, Ton. I can't even protect the ones I love. I'm just a glorified thief, not a hero. Look there. Someone like that would never let their loved ones fall into the hands of vicious pirates. Not like me.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Back up and start over.
A gang of pirates has taken the ones I love most. They want to make me suffer for crossing them.
Pirates think that just because Tatooine is off the beaten path, they can do whatever they want here. They murder, steal, burn. Wraith was the first one to stand up to them.
I merely returned what had been stolen, and when the scumbags realized they'd never catch me, they took my loved ones instead. I've no means to pay the ransom, and a rescue mission would be suicidal. Some hero I turned out to be.
I could deal with these pirates for you. I've had practice.
Oh, perfect. If you help Wraith, we'll never be able to thank you enough.
I don't know what to say. Thank you. Just please make sure they don't come to harm.
And make those scumbags pay.
Don't worry. I'll walk into your trap for you. I got this. Hi, Micromono. Hi, Giga Pudding. Hi, Arcono. What do you want? Oh, no, I'll wait. Hey, I can actually see the bacillus. Holy crap. Let me guess, you're here to complain about the sand people, right? Took a shot at you? You're not the first traveler they've attacked, and you won't be the last. You're lucky you're in one piece. I'll tell you what I tell everyone. There's nothing I can do. Too many of them, not enough of me.
That made no sense at all. Try again.
No? The sand people, they're native to the desert. Savage, bloodthirsty. You can't talk to them. They murder any outsiders they find. The tribes don't have a lot of tech, but they're good at scavenging and been on the offensive lately. Want help? Get those rifles away from them. That'd save me a world of trouble.
What's the upside for me?
I'll scrounge up some sort of payment if you decide to help out. I'll be here to take those rifles off your hands. We'll bust some heads.
Think you're all right?
That's Rose. Hey, Junk Garrosh. Listen, tasting food is for the weak, okay?
Somehow, I expected a bit more from a spy's house.
My friends like to make fun of me by saying that I Kirby my food.
Try to appreciate the scenery, Camus. Most people never get to visit a place like this.
This is a horrible place. No wonder Zerka built their base in the Dune Sea. No one would ever want to look for it here.
He'll adjust. How was your visit to Old Man Gromit?
I don't think so, Inamisha. I'm not sure.
Take a look at what I've found.
These are official Zerka records from Secret Weapons Division 7.
Schematics, survey maps. Looks like Gromit came through for us. Don't go anywhere. I think we're gonna need you. Alright, we should be able to determine a rough location of the base from these charts. Problem is, the sands have shifted over the last few decades. We'll need some geo readings to determine the facility's exact coordinates.
What does taking these readings involve?
The data isn't hard to get, in theory. I can give you a field scanner that'll dip into the sand, put us on track. But a lot of this territory is unexplored. Locals talk about sand people communities, crate dragons the size of starships.
I was afraid this would be too easy.
If you take readings in a couple of places, I can figure out the base location. Meet me back here when you're done. Take it slow and be careful.
Alright. Excuse me. Yeah, have you ever played a Kirby game, Valvedrix? Valvedrix. No, I don't like good games. Oh, that explains everything. Sorry, that's mean. I didn't mean that to be mean. I was going for light poking, and I went too far. Let's try that again. Let's see. I don't like games with pink things? No, that doesn't work. Damn it. I knew it was those. Okay, hang on. My map isn't filled out. I can't tell. It looks like I want to go... Let's just assume it's down. Let's assume it's down. Ugh. Let's eat some bantha steaks. You know how in Brawl, Kirby inhales his enemies? Well, that's how Kirby eats in general. Hence, Kirbying your food.
There. Better?
That's true, Pastor Muppets. Honestly, any game that isn't Ride to Hell Retribution is just... It's just not the same. So, Enemy Show actually asks a really good question. It's a visual design question. How do you make someplace feel barren and vast wasteland without making it suck? Unfortunately, I can't just hop into WoW right now and show you because I'm not currently subscribed to WoW. But there is a zone that immediately jumps to mind. It's actually not a desert. It's actually in the afterlife. It's a place called the Maw. Now, what they do with the Maw... Is this the right one?
There. Better?
God, I hate the map for this zone. I don't think this is right. I think this is wrong. This is wrong. Hang on. The way they designed the Maw is... Oh, it's hard to describe if you haven't seen it. But it's all down to specific shadings and using shadows as a way to try and emphasize... Is that up? It's probably up. To emphasize that barren, desolate feeling. It also doesn't have long stretches of nothing. Like, you see this corridor we're going through right now? There's nothing this devoid of stuff in the Maw. Well, that's kind of my point, though, Enemy Show. If you really build up the visual and the audio design of the place, the gameplay design kind of fulfills itself. You know what I mean? Because, let's be honest, there's only two... Where's Giga? I heard Giga say something. I'm hearing pudding in my ear, which sounds weird now that I say that out loud. There's two methods by which to make someplace feel, you know, big, empty, horrible wasteland. You either do it, in which case, you know, it's arguably bad gameplay, or you imply it. So if you're saying, how do you make it actually be purely in gameplay without implying it, while still being not bad, the answer is you don't. If you want something to be big and sloggy and boring, then it's big and sloggy and boring. Oh, hey, that's shared. Yay. Now, the reason I'm hedging so much on this is I personally would always give that a negative. Well, I shouldn't say always. There's a likelihood that I would always give that a negative. But I know that some game designers and some players want that. Maybe not just within the wasteland feel. Maybe they want a game where the interface is cumbersome. Maybe they want a game where the HUD is badly designed or not designed. Maybe they want a game where it takes literal hours to accomplish any objective, etc., etc., right? And you know me, I'm actually really in favor of niche gameplay design.
Here. The data's coming in. Looks like this will give us what we need, but... Huh? Getting an energy signature not too far from you. Some sort of installation, code from long-range sensors. If you would, head on over and see if there's anything there. Could just be a glitch in the scanners, but I doubt it.
So, you know, you get the idea, right? Like, if that's what they want, if they want to push for that particular niche, well, that's fine.
There.
Again,
Better?
I will still probably personally ding that, but I can at least acknowledge it in, you know, something that's being done deliberately to try and make something feel like a big, vast, empty wasteland. Probably Inamisha. You know what you could also do if you want to be really a dick about it? So imagine for a moment that your terrain design, your quest design, your town design, I'm not going to go for that, is all, like you say, it's all focused on one spot, right? So it's all over here. And yet the map is this huge stretch of land. And maybe you get like some NPCs who talk about treasure that's out there, or terrifying beasts that are out there, or whatever. And so you've got all this manually generated content. It's all like right over here in this corner. And then the entire rest of the map is this vast, empty wasteland of death, which you can go out into and has terrain damage and inconsistent visuals, and you can barely tell where you're going, and there's a snowstorm, or excuse me, a sandstorm constantly causing you problems, and Gigapudding teleporting onto, oh god! That teleport killed her! It's okay, her Leku are going into the air. Seriously, you can see him right there, it's funny. and there's just stuff out there to do, right? Probably not what I would consider meat content. But, you know, you could put procedurally generated stuff out there, you could put challenge mode stuff out there, you could put time-consuming stuff out there, you could put achievement or cosmetic stuff out there. You get the idea, right? Thus, create a benefit to go out actually into the wastes, so that you can effectively have your cake and eat it too. Because most, I shouldn't say most, sorry, players who are just trying to go there for the story or the quest or whatever, they see this vast, horrific wasteland that they can barely tell what's going on in the distance. And for the other players, they can actually go out into it. And probably die.
There. Better?
No, I have no idea, Travis. Kira White Noise also mentions a very good idea. There's ways to do... That's part of the visual design thing I mentioned earlier, too. There's ways to do visual trickery to make things feel or seem much more barren, or much more horrifying, or much larger than they actually are. Without relying on the old, you know, invisible walls thing that most games do. I mean, honestly, that would make a weird amount of sense, though, wouldn't it, Inamisha? Like, Tatooine is usually focused on the little town hubs. Most of the stuff, you've got your moisture farmers, of course, but most of the real activity is occurring on these little cityscapes. I don't know what to call it. Hell, let's go back, let's rewind to KOTOR 1 for just a second. Most of KOTOR 1 occurs within visual range of town, and that makes perfect sense. The only exception is the crate layer, which, honestly, I always assumed was pretty far out into the dunes, which would also make sense. Settlements, that's a good word. Thank you, Bloated Snow.
There's more where this came from.
There we go, I should get rid of some of that. Yeah, exactly, Space Cadet. I mean, they probably wouldn't believe it, Latario. I mean, honestly, why would they? What possible proof would they have of such a thing?
That ought to fix you.
You know, the more I look into zones like this room we were just in, the more I realize this game really was cribbing off of WoW Vanilla specifically. I mean, I've already talked about that a lot in terms of quest design, overworld design, drop rates, group encounters, you know, enemy design. That's just a lot of stuff, right? But what's really what's really making it settle for me is the interior design. Because any of you who've played WoW Vanilla, like, just picture in your mind right now Molten Core, right? Like, picture going into Molten Core and the massive, huge swaths of cave. Like, look at this. This has got to be a 50... Whoop, 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 whoop. This has got to be a 50-foot wide cave, for God's sakes. And probably like 100+ feet tall. Did I miss it? Nope, it's coming. There it goes. No, that's true, Inamisho. I have learned to put up with a lot of... And I'm going to say it that way. Put up with people. No, Giga! Looks like we can save her. It's going to take... the most powerful thing in my arsenal. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, she's up. Okay. Whoa, no, no, no! Okay, that was actually close. I just barely made it over the ledge. That'll show me for screwing around. What was I talking about? The WoW Vanilla crowd, and I'm going to call it that, has just been some of the most militant assholes I've met in the WoW community. In general. And I know that's going to call down some hate on me, but let me try to define that for a second. Because the timeline from my perspective was a bunch of people are like, hey, you know, WoW Vanilla is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, oh my god. And then they would be assholes. And I was like, ugh. And so my opinion just kind of got stronger, you know what I mean? Especially since I actually went back to WoW Vanilla in order to record footage for the Lorecraft series, if you remember. So I actually was going off of recent information, not just vague memories. So because I did that pushback, then other people pushed back again and started giving me actual, well-reasoned opinions rather than just a bunch of noise about why they liked WoW Vanilla. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, I guess there's some people who like WoW Vanilla who aren't assholes. That's cool. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. And that's why I say that, because the WoW Vanilla crowd, well, they can go to hell. But people who just enjoy WoW Vanilla, we're cool. Now, I'm not going to change my opinion because, again, I have gone back to WoW Vanilla recently. Last year, actually. And, wasn't impressed. Is that everything? Nope, I still need sniper rifles. I think only these drop the sniper rifles. Yeah.
That ought to fix you.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't even imagine doing that now. That's true, Pillars of Snow. Classic is finally out. Something I feel like pointing out I was in favor of. Because historical blah 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 blah. What irritates me the most is that the assholes became more asshole once WoW Classic came out. And it's like, but... Okay. Oh, wow! Almost didn't make that. I don't think I was supposed to make that, to be honest. Whoosh. Okay, hang on. It's... Ah, shoot. No, this should work, this should work. Because you'd think they'd be happy that they got it, but instead, what you get is people who start trumpeting the success of WoW Classic as the reason, as proof! As proof that they're right, and every MMO should be built like WoW Vanilla. And anybody who thinks otherwise is wrong. And you know my opinion on that attitude, in general. Sure.
That ought to fix you.
Look at this. I should have asked you to bring me back a Sarlacc while you're at it. You are practically a small army. That ought to make the Sand People think twice about attacking travelers. At least for a while.
There are plenty more sand people out there. This probably isn't over.
Never is. Thank you. A lot of farmers and miners owe you their lives. Just notice you can see the zipper on your outfit, Gigapudding. But my point is, really, I have no problem with someone who likes Val Vanilla. Or much of anything. My problem is and always has been the assholes. I don't try to be shocked. No, I just noticed it. That's all, Giga. I'm just commenting on its design. And how incredibly awesome it looks.
Better?
Ah, the Crate Dragon Fang. And in perfect condition. I'm deeply impressed with how you handled those Geonosians, Captain.
Remember that Sith we heard about? She controls the Geonosians, and she wants to meet Diago.
The Sith is behind the attacks on our operation? How do you know?
For a being of pure evil, she was surprisingly forthcoming.
Typical Sith. Start negotiations by blasting everything in sight. Let's hope that Jedi from my club puts the Sith out of our misery. We're going to an underground water well the natives call the Light Spring. The boss turned it into his private retreat. Now that we have the Fang, he'll let us into... Oh! What now?
Kukri, the palace is under attack! Imperial commandos! They're tearing us apart, breaching the security doors!
Diago will be furious if this palace falls to the Empire. Only one thing to do.
What are you doing?
Kill the Imperials and meet me at the Light Spring.
Are you bailing?
You're gonna leave me to clean this up?
I'm not abandoning you. I just don't want to die.
That...
Good luck. See you at the Light Spring.
And that's why people like the Smuggler story arc. Right there. Alright, zippers, let's do this. You know what's funny? I bet you could literally hide behind my bulk. Just physically.
Hello again. I was afraid you might have forgotten our agreement, so I sent some friends to jog your memory.
I just shot a few of your pals. Hope you don't mind.
They weren't that good friends. You promised to arrange a meeting for me with Diago. I want it. Now.
Diago's at a place called the Light Spring. I'll send you the coordinates.
See? That wasn't so hard. I just sent the all-clear signal to my soldiers. They're retreating as we speak. Oh. Or perhaps not.
What's the matter? They can't find the exit?
Not exactly. Apparently, little Neriel has decided to poke her lightsaber where it doesn't belong. She's killing my soldiers at the palace's main door. Be a dear and throw her off our trail. Then meet me at the Light Spring. I'll see you there.
She does have an Imperial accent, definitely, Space Cadet. Yeah, honestly, I feel kind of bad that I don't remember Smuggler as well as I'd like to. Because, by memory, I enjoyed Smuggler, I just don't have strong memories of it. Ah. Well, I won't bow to you, Michael. But I'll flex. Ah, there we go. Hi, Michael. One moment. Ah, he's giving me trouble.
They wouldn't surrender. Why don't they ever surrender?
Let's get some fresh air and talk about your feelings.
That's unnecessary. Although I'm used to conflict, it still affects me. I'm disappointed to see you in this place after our last conversation. I thought you'd learn to stop associating with criminals. Why are you here?
You following me, Jedi?
I heard about this palace back at the club. I came hoping to find Bavaron Zare, but it seems I've just missed her. If you know anything about the Sith's current whereabouts, please tell me.
Zare's headed for the desert, to an underground well called the Light Spring.
You did the right thing informing me of this. Stay here. When I confront Zare, it will be a horrific battle. You won't want to be around. May the Force be with us both. Farewell.
I love that line. They didn't surrender. Why do they never surrender? Lady, I've been asking that for 30 years. Thank you, Inamisho. Oh, wait, that's not me, Inamisho. That's Michael! Thank you, Michael. I will put that one towards the Zelda block. You're Demon Hunter. You know, it's ironic, Michael, because it's been worse than I thought. But also better? It's weird. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess that's normal, so whatever. I need to go way over there. Like, and sometimes they're like, oh, it's awesome, and then the rest of it's just like, oh god, kill me. But yeah, what Inamisho said is absolutely true. A Smuggler is generically fun. But that's almost the problem, isn't it? There are individual moments that stick in my mind from most of the other, well, from all 4 Imperial story arcs, let's put it that way. Alderaan for the Bounty Hunter. The end of Act 1 for Sith Warrior. Speaking vaguely, to try and avoid stuff. Honestly, the end of Act 2 for Inquisitor is a pretty good one. And an Agent, I mean, just where do I start with Agent? By contrast, Smuggler is, well, it's got a lot of, got a lot of humor, got a lot of laughs, but it's, like, name a moment. I can actually think of one, and we're not there yet. Is this, wait, didn't I already turn that in? It was turned in. Oh, whatever. Did we turn this in? Thank you, Gigapudding, for helping me with my misadventures in Tor. I do appreciate you muchly.
I think you're all right.
And not just because of your orange belly. I'll put that towards 6.2 because it's not.
Somehow, I expected a bit more from a spy's house.
Where's Giga? I lost Giga. She's gone. Oh, did it change? Oh, it did! Look, we're not wearing the dumb anymore.
Still a few minutes before those scans are processed. Huh. What about...
Hey, look who made it back.
Bad news, Fowler. That reading was a Zerka listening post.
Blast. Lexende must have set it up. Now the cyborg freak has our data. Zerka can find their lost base as easily as we can.
I take it that means the readings came through.
Yeah, machines are sorting through it now, but if Lexende's on the trail, we assumed Zerka came to keep us out of the facility. Maybe we were mistaken. Maybe they want what they left behind.
Gromik's files. We saw some things.
Yeah. Turns out Zerka didn't come to Tatooine to build or test the device. They found it here, underground, an artifact powerful enough to wipe out a planet, just buried in the desert.
Disaster struck, and they left it behind.
That's what I'm thinking. Camus, has the computer cross-referenced the scans with Gromik schematics?
Yes? It looks like the main entrance is a few kilometers away. What about the door codes?
There's a bunch of relay towers around the base. They'll have a mess of data, the codes, along with old communications. Downloading everything from the relay towers will allow you to get into that base and destroy the device. It can't fall into the wrong hands.
We don't even know what the device does.
Zerka saw it as a doomsday weapon. That's enough.
Be careful in the base, in case they left traps, or if Lexende finds you.
That'll do, Camus. Time to let professionals finish the job.
Don't worry, it's fine, it's fine. It won't fall into the wrong hands. It's totes cool. Everything's fine. Wink. I'm kind of ambivalent myself, Giga Pudding. Or put differently, I think they're both good. Where is that? Is that just this way? I think it's just this way. But anyways, there's one and only one reason we had to play Male Smuggler, and you know what that reason is. The furts must flow. Hello. Oh, you're all dead.
Better?
Yep, it's the only time where I'm going to flirt this much in the history of my show. So I'm not going to say this with total certainty, Mike Amato, but I'm pretty sure the female smuggler, mathematically, has less flirt chances than the male one does. What? Okay. So we're back. Hey, I got your, loved ones. That you wouldn't stop referring to as your loved ones. Which was suspicious even in the original conversation.
You're back. Did you rescue them? Are my loved ones finally safe?
I can smash them right in front of him. This is actually Zelda Twilight Princess music, specifically. Same composer.
You want your precious loved ones? There. There they are.
No! Why would you do that?
Did you just smash them?
Wraith, I don't... Toys? This was all about toys? That's what the pirates took from you?
Shut up! Just shut up! Maybe I can still fix them.
No comment.
That ought to fix you.
I mean, in the interest of fairness, if someone tried to destroy, you know, Dive, Wave, Quick, or any of my stuffed animals, I'd kill them. So anyways, let's see here. Moving on. Meow. Meow, meow.
Vehicle paths are currently open for
To the
business.
Dune Sea. So I did see your question. Now, part of the problem is you're asking me to make a vague judgment call with no real information to judge it by other than my vague, just feeling. Right, Latario? That being said, I've always had the strong impression that the Force was a lot stronger back in the day anyways. I mean, Exar Kun is a good example of that. So, listen, Zeiss. I'll kill you! If you don't pay me, of course. So I would say that Miss Surik is probably much stronger by sheer virtue of what and who she is. And the era in which she is at, so I'd say she's stronger. But I have no evidence for that whatsoever. If you try to argue me down, you will win automatically, by default. Any questions? That's a good question, Mike Lamano. I've been debating that a little bit. Dungeons kind of rely on availability of people. You're welcome, sight. Nice break from the sandstorms and mirages. I'm supposed to keep these people safe. I was joking, Zeiss!
You know anything else about this area, now's the time.
Patogawata kiko uba kiriwata buki donko. Piti do tenyago kakajujo. Da biska ku paliya. Kabanotase makipuna. Malituta odmishka.
Yeah, I'll go kill some Mandalorians.
I figure I'm here for a good reason.
Chaskruni dopat kurira dokanki kung. Chobad I kafstuan dileji hulo kuta.
What, the zero-sum theory, Crow? No, not at all.
Think you're all right?
Well, let me grab these quests here really quick. Reduced to begging from wandering spacers. You, come here. I need your help. I am a representative to the Republic. My fellow ambassadors and I were touring the dunes. We were ambushed by an uncouth warlord.
What is there to look at on Tatooine apart from sand and rock?
There's nothing wrong with seeking exotic adventure, just not this much. That warlord captured everyone in the ambassadorial party, and not for ransom like a civilized being, but as slaves. If that slave caravan gets to the deep desert, we'll never be able to track them.
I might be able to help you with that.
The caravan was heading in that direction. You can get ahead of that warlord and his men. Not be long. I'll be waiting for my fellows to return. Oh my god, there's so many quests here. Why are there so many quests?
Good to see so many enemies of the Empire in one place. I'm Commander Trudeau. Some out here insist the Imperials don't plan to stay. I say, once their excavations are complete, they'll conquer Anchorhead. But you could help hold them off. Make sure they're too busy with the Sand People to notice us.
What do the Sand People have to do with this?
Not just any Sand People. This is the most vicious tribe on Tatooine. Those crazies are the only thing between us and the Imps. Sadly, they won't be around much longer. The Empire's poisoning their water. Thinning them out as we speak. Pains me to say it, but we've got to help them.
This doesn't sound like a wise course of action.
Please believe me, it's the only solution. I've got some water cleanser here. It should be enough to clean their tainted wells. Of course, they'll try to kill you while you do it. Still, if that tribe of Sand People fall, a lot of innocent people are next.
That's one tribe of Sand People that won't fall to the Empire. I'll make sure of it.
Use this cleaner to cure their water. Funny to be saving Sand People, but the enemy of my enemy.
I like it. Let's kill the Sand People. That's what you said, right? Because that's what you should have said. Alright, hang on. So let me get lined up towards the quest. Okay. Thank you, Zeiss, very much. I really wasn't expecting anything. I was just joking. But thank you very, very much, Zeiss. I will put that, I already have put that towards Horizon Forbidden West.
Think you're all right?
Oh, that's nice. I still stand by what I said during the KOTOR lore run. We should execute all the Sand People.
Dr. Sopran here. We finished our initial catalog of the cave artifacts, which register as over 20,000 years old. You think that would narrow down the possible creators, wouldn't you? There weren't many societies capable of space travel in that period. But I can't find any society or species that fits these criteria. Even Gree technology isn't comparable. Anyway, Dr. Lyric and I will study the primary device and assign lesser relics to the others to keep them busy. Hopefully, we'll find something useful. Zerka's going to make a fortune off this stuff if we can figure it out. End log.
And that is definitely going to end well. / nod. Yeah, it's funny, Latario. When I mentioned that during the KOTOR lore run, my sister happened to be in range. And I was like, how could you be endorsing genocide? And I had to explain to her what the Sand People were and how they operate. And then she was like, oh, okay, yeah, wipe them all out. So that's 2 for 2 on wiping out the Sand People. Look, these people are mass murderers and mass torturers, and could honestly go straight to hell. Like, let's abandon joking for a second. Screw the Sand People. They are acceptable targets. Now, whether they should be or not, that's a little more debatable.
You're all right.
We'll have to decide that in the Star Wars rewrite. Because there's nothing wrong with having acceptable targets in your fiction. But I do feel that fiction leans on acceptable targets a little bit too much. And let's be honest, we have lots of acceptable targets in Star Wars. We don't need that many. They're animals. I slaughtered them like animals. Just get the meme in.
Perfect solitude for a year. Now, 4 interruptions in a day. Frustrating.
I didn't lead the Jedi or the Sith here, boss. I don't know how they found you.
Sorry. I've been a real chatterbox lately.
Are you insane? Why would you lead him here?
Why do I get the feeling you're playing us against each other? Can't believe you'd jeopardize your reward from me.
Reward? What's she talking about?
Consider Zare a gift, gorgeous. Anything you want, I can deliver.
You have no idea the danger you've put yourself in.
Empty chatter. Like fingernails on transparent steel. I will silence. Who is that?
Captain, haven't heard from you in a while. Everything all right?
I've got a Jedi and a Sith fighting over me, but I only have eyes for you.
Nothing you say makes any sense.
Poor Neriel. She's never been kissed.
Such a professional. Who could resist?
Oh, beautiful girl. So beautiful.
Wait, is that him? You're with Diago?
Yeah.
I want to see her again. Now!
I could set you two up if you're interested.
Bring her to me, and I'll forgive you for disturbing my sanctuary.
Diago dear, I can offer you so much more. Just as soon as we rid ourselves of this Jedi.
Afraid to fight me alone, Sith?
Silence! The only voice here should be mine.
Diago, you're every bit the monster Vaveron Zare is. You will both pay.
You want to kill the Jedi.
You want to drop your weapons.
Would you knock it off?
Stop waving your hands like that. You both look ridiculous.
Strong-minded, hmm? You're no use to me. Forgive me, dear Diago, but I really must kill these two before we continue.
No more! I find a beautiful girl myself! Droids! Kill everyone!
But I didn't do anything!
Everyone!
I like how he's a higher level threat than she is. She's a Sig, he's an elite. Probably not on purpose. Either way, they're dead.
You betrayed Zare and helped me defeat her. Why?
Zara had flash and sizzle, but you're a natural beauty.
You must learn to look beyond appearances. I see now why Zare thought this box was worth killing over. Thank the Force we stopped her. This is a Sith holocron. It was created centuries ago by a powerful Dark Lord called Darth Nihilus.
Is Darth Nihilus guy famous for anything?
He exterminated nearly every Jedi a few centuries ago. It took great effort for us to rebuild. I'll ensure this relic remains safely hidden from Zare's allies. The Empire must never access the terrible secrets contained here. My ship is waiting nearby. I should go. We've saved countless lives today.
Put in a good word about me with your Jedi friends.
Goodbye. May the Force protect you.
Yeah, who's Darth Nihilus again? Don't ask. Worse, holocrons are Force scans, which is even worse if you think about it.
Not Drayan, that's all I hear. What was it like to fight Not Drayan? The next time some fool asks me that, I'll bury this holo recording in his forehead and play it back for the survivors. Not Drayan was never a true gangster. Not like me. He just pretended. People think I fought him because he was more successful. Because he made me number 2. Because he stole my wife. Lies! I fought him because he was no more a gangster than I am a senator. Nock was a con artist. The whole underworld was his mark. He was using us for something. Don't know what. But I do know he never gave a damn about being king of the underworld. It was all just a game. At least that pile of filth is finally dead. I raided his storehouse just to be sure. He never came. I'm still alive and he's not. I won. You hear that, Nock? I won.
Think you're all right.
Of course I can't unmute myself in the game because this game is coded by monkeys who are doing it on spaghetti. So that was the Smuggler chain. Let's see what's going on with Zerka. Also, now you don't get to hear my answers to what song this is. Because it sucks to be you because of this game.
This is Director Antaean speaking. As you know, worker safety is one of Zerka's top priorities, and we take accidents seriously. Therefore, due to concerns surrounding studies of the device, we are implementing a new policy. Anyone wishing to perform a physical inspection of the device must get written authorization from myself and Dr. Daigo. Research using droids and remote scanners may continue normally. Please note that this does not affect our division's overall schedule.
Right. Way out there, Jesus. Oh, that's gonna suck. What's the difference between healing and rehabilitation? I suppose it depends on the circumstance, Trax, yep. So I suppose I have no idea. There you go, that's my answer. Oh.
That ought to fix you.
I want my concerns on the record before more people get hurt. I'm worried about the device. Its energy readings keep fluctuating, and it appears to be trying to link with the lesser artifacts. I think it's a weapon, maybe a bomb. Sopran's theory about it being a Gree Enclave creation are inane. We've already got evidence of an ancient alien civilization visiting Tatooine, and they weren't Gree. We've seen similar technology in the Kashyyyk Shadowlands. I'm sure the Infinite Empire is tied to the device's origins, no matter what anyone says, and I'm tired of being ignored.
Cute. Alright, so I'm gonna beeline for the furthest out quest first. And take a nap. Oh, wake me when we get there. Oh, I have a question. Actually, there was an explanation back in the EU for it, Flygand. I've actually already even answered that very question this week, but I don't mind repeating myself because I'm doing an extraordinarily long and boring walk across a long and boring desert. So here's the idea. The concept is that technology reaches a point of sufficient destructibility as to be able to cause sufficient long-term systemic infrastructure and brain damage. I'll cover that in a minute. In order to diminish an organization, civilization, or species' ability to produce said technology. In other words, the tech level, if you were to rate it on a line, gets to a certain point and then regresses because of the fact that it can do so much damage to itself, and then it gets better again. Sounds right? Now, whether or not you agree with that or not is up to you. I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just saying that's the explanation. So, what happens in Star Wars is every now and again we have a literal galactic war, where gargantuan superpowers end up fighting each other with mega death weapons and doing large-scale planetary-level damage to each other. And, well, I'm stunned. Wow, that was a long stun. And, yeah, there it is, basically. Now, the out-of-character universe answer is that Star Wars' tech is actually quite iconic. And so, in order to make Star Wars iconic, they need to make it the same tech level. So they do. Let me put this another way, and I'm not trying to throw shade in one direction or another. How many people have you heard talk about the new Trek stuff in a manner that basically boils down to, that doesn't look like Star Trek? And the reason why is because they've advanced the tech level in Discovery, specifically, to the point where it doesn't look like Star Trek anymore. So they're trying to avoid that problem, put simply. Now, of course, the real issue with that is the fact that they keep setting stories literally millennia apart from each other, which is like, guys, you realize a lot can happen in a year, right?
You're all right.
Camera. Okay, now for the next farthest away quest. Time to take another nap. Oh, was that the balloon? Check it out, there's the balloon to get the holocron. It's right there. We're not doing that. I've done that before. Actually, yeah. So, when the prequel trilogy first came out, a lot of people complained that it didn't look like Star Wars because it looked too clean. I was actually not one of those in that case, because to me, that made perfect sense. Now, hear me out for just a second. So what I just talked about technology kind of having peaks and troughs, that's a real thing. That actually has real-life precedence in real-life history. And one thing we've known about for years and years and years, even when Phantom Menace came out, was that there was this conflict called the Clone Wars, which was horrifically devastating on a galactic scale, right? So, it made sense that in a golden age where everything's cool, before the Clone Wars, it would look like that. They would have that aesthetic. That tracked for me. And then by the time we get to A New Hope, everything looks a lot more run down, broken, and lived in, because this is post-Clone Wars now, right? In a Galactic Empire, that's not really all that interested in maintaining everything to be awesome and amazing. So, that tracks completely for me. Now, I will say this. I do think there's such a thing as drifting too far out of range, so to speak. But I also think that the actual creators behind Star Wars are a little bit too in range, if you're following my terminology correctly here. Like, Star Wars, Tor certainly has its own unique look to it, just like KOTOR does, just like the prequels do, just like the trilogy, the original trilogy does. But I think they really probably shouldn't be a little bit too adherent to the general aesthetic and shouldn't be afraid to have technology progress, regress, etc. But I do also think it is very possible, what am I doing here, to make it, essentially move the tech level to the point where the setting no longer makes sense. Let me put it that way.
I think you're all right.
Now, excuse me, I need to genocide the Sand People. Actually, if you've been paying attention, the specific quest I'm doing is I'm curing their water so that they don't die. Which is funny, because I have to kill them to do it. Now, the good news is Imperial Star Destroyer isn't here, because then he'd shoot me with his many, many turbo lasers. To saying that the Harrower is a really cool-looking, Star Destroyer, and honestly, I think is one of the better-looking ships in this entire series. That's it! I'll come up with the time dilation field. Oh. You know what's really sad? If you go back before KOTOR, the tech level was much lower. Like, look up the Hyperspace War era at some point in time, if you really want to see what Star Wars looks like when it is substantially less advanced. Like, the pioneers, the people who first started mapping the original hyperspace routes, the old lightsabers, the old ships, if you could call them that, completely different terror. Yeah, the Rakata era is another good example of that. Hopefully, I can pull up this donation. Come on! Four, okay. And now I must bow, because he said, do bow. So very well, I will bow. Thank you, Imperial Star Destroyer. Ow! Thank you. Really. I put that towards Mega Man Legends 2, Trombone, Final Fantasy Tactics, and the Avatar Streamations. Thank you. No, not at all, Trihexia. But I think it looks pretty cool. Oh my god,
Well, Dr. Lyric is gone. He's put in for a transfer and is heading back to Anchorhead, taking one of the lesser relics with him. Good riddance. He was a pain to work with. Still. Lyric's theory about an ancient infinite empire and a master alien species was fringe science at best, but some of his data makes sense. I'm going to run a new series of tests tomorrow, using a remote arm to open up the device. We'll see where it goes from there.
Either way, I think, and this is something we'll actually have to talk about in the Star Wars rewrite, I think the biggest problem by far is the fact that they want to have these gargantuan stretches of time. That's the issue. If KOTOR was set a century before the prequel trilogy, all those issues go away. Just, there you go. Done. There's this big doomy war. The Sith Empire was brought down. We've had a century of peace since then. Palpatine comes to power. Boom. There you go. Problem's fixed. I'm being dismissive, but you get my point. I think that shrinking the timeline is pretty much going to happen in the Star Wars rewrite. We'll just have to work out the specifics, because obviously you don't want to just do that all willy-nilly.
That ought to fix you.
That was mentioned in KOTOR, Alex. So the idea was that once upon a time the Rakatans held this place. This place successfully rebelled against them, and so they glassed it in revenge. It's also mentioned in several Star Wars works that a lot of this place looks like it used to be an ocean world, so...
This is Director Antaean to all Zerka employees. Please listen and remain calm. A few minutes ago, we experienced a minor equipment failure in the main laboratory. As a precaution, we are initiating lockdown procedures. Do not attempt to override the system, so the computers will respond with force. Stay where you are, and you'll be alerted when the situation resolves.
The imprisoned one will be free. The rebirth has begun. So, yeah. This is, a thing. Yep. I think it makes sense there would be periods of peace on a galactic scale, Imperial Star Destroyer. Now, if you mean periods of peace across the galaxy, no, not at all. There's always going to be someone pissed at someone somewhere. There's a reason Bounty Hunter is one of the most commonly perceived roles in the thing. There's a reason the military is so strong. There's a reason it's called Star Wars, etc., etc. So, yeah.
You're all right.
I don't know if I'd go with 500 years. See, the problem is someone in chat mentioned we need it to be long enough that the Sith are just a distant story. The problem is that would be a few thousand years. And we're about right back to square one. I mean, who cares about Bane, Mike Romano? I don't even understand the question, honestly. Bane might not be in the rewrite at all. And he's gone. There we go. Oh, don't even get me started on Legend of Zelda's timeline. Whoops, wrong way. I need to go this way. So the third thing we're going to have to do when it comes to the Star Wars rewrite is we're going to have to decide what we're going to have to cherry pick. What are we keeping and what are we axing? Now that's in broad terms, obviously. I don't want to know if insert random NPC from this one random video game is going to be in. That doesn't matter. That's zooming in too far. We need to decide which areas, concepts, major characters. Who's Grevies? I'm sorry. Are going to be kept in. Oh, Grievous! Right, yeah, so we're going to have to decide if Grievous is in, we're going to have to decide if Dooku is in, we're going to have to decide if Bane is in, if any of the KOTOR era stuff is in, if any of the High Republic stuff is in. Remember, we're not limited to the EU or the AU. We are limited to nothing whatsoever. We can do whatever we want to. By the way, these are called cyber necrotics, just so you know. Who's the best Sith ever? Malik. That's a lie. It's probably Mar. Yeah, do we keep Ahsoka? Come to me. Come closer until we are one. I am the imprisoned one. Few beings have the strength to resist us, but you have earned my respect. We may share words.
Sure, absolutely. Let's you and I have a talk.
I am Rakata, is the name of my people. Eons ago, the Infinite Empire ruled this world and so many others. Yeah, like 5. Yet I reached for greater majesty, and my people sealed my mind in this box as punishment. I drifted in whiteness for over 20,000 years.
Say that again? In basic?
I sought to dance among star temples and understand dark time. In truth, I remember little. When your Zerka Corporation found my prison, I touched this world again. I created my skin vessels and machine hands. I have learned of your galaxy and found it wanting. I choose to remake it and give birth to a new, infinite empire.
We need to find a full-time job.
You do not truly comprehend me. I had hoped for more from your species. You will lead our army out of the sands. This world's settlements will fall and my skin vessels will proceed to the stars. The time for resistance is over. Join us now. So, yeah, this is what Zerka dug up. A frickin' puzzle box. For some reason, the Infinite Empire, in their infinite wisdom, decided to infinitely imprison this mega death doom for 20 millennia. So, yeah, that's cool. Probably tracks, yeah. They did. The Rakatans made the prison on Belsavas. See, that's a good question, Nero says. Maybe you weren't paying attention, so let me repeat myself. The third step of the Star Wars rewrite is going to be deciding what stays and what goes. Remember, we have 2 separate continuities which aren't even fully contiguous with themselves to cherry pick from. So, whether the Old Republic era exists at all, whether we keep anything of KOTOR 1 or 2, or Tor, or any of the characters or ideas or concepts within, or when it goes, or the New Republic era, excuse me, the High Republic era, all of that is in question. I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that, Alex, but you're just making my point for me.
That ought to fix you.
So in short, Nero says the answer is, I don't know if the Rakata will exist with Star Wars. With the Star Wars rewrite. It's like asking me if the Yuzun Vong will exist with the Star Wars rewrite. By the way, signs leaning towards no, but you get my point. Yeah, think about how much time and effort and tech it takes to do all this stuff, and you can just kill them. Just a blaster. Damn it. I was unprepared.
Marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. We could never have excavated this place without your help. Oh, we knew where the base was, but getting inside, ghastly work. And I should say, I'm delighted to finally meet you in person.
I don't have time for this, Luxende.
What's your hurry? Sit down and let's talk. You see, when I was assigned to stop the Republic from finding this facility, I was intrigued by the Doomsday device. That my superiors told me to stay away only whet my appetite. I decided to take the device for myself.
It all comes down to greed, doesn't it?
That's one way of looking at it. Shall we continue in that vein? I'm offering a very large sum of credits, as well as rescinding the kill order on Camus, if you help me. Hand over the device, and the Republic never has to know. Tell Fowler you destroyed it. What do you say?
It's a tough call.
Does this answer your question?
let you do that? Do you know what that thing was? What
Yes.
it was worth?
Yes.
Oh. Now you've left me no choice. I'm going to have to kill you. Painfully.
Yeah, sure thing, Keldos. And your guards are dead. And you're dead. Goodbye. And, okay, well, we lost our Kono. It's fine, it's fine, they're fine. Everything's fine, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. So anyways, why do I feel Tor is essentially a separate timeline from the EU? Everything, Latario. Absolutely everything about Tor doesn't really line up with the rest of Star Wars. Please forgive me, I don't really want to go down a list. But it's one of those things where it doesn't generally fit, and the more you zoom in, and the more you look at it, the less it fits. So okay.
The Sand People are pushing those blasted Imperials back. You really stirred them up good. Bet the Imps are furious after what you pulled.
It's so hard to be humble, knowing how great I am.
You're something, all right. I'd wish you luck out there, but you probably don't need it. Yeah, better get back to business myself. Thanks again. I won't forget what you've done here.
Now, well, no, I guess that's the end of that sentence. End statement. Damn it, I can't think of his name. There's like one male Togruta that I can think of, and I can't think of his name. Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter.
There. Better?
Excellent job. My fellows should recover from their enslavement. Nothing of return to civilization won't cure. I hope this is adequate payment. But do you have my credits than some Tatooine pickpocket? You have my thanks. Now, which way is Anchorhead, I wonder? Yeah.
The Mandalorian leader wouldn't listen to reason. He's dead.
Can't say I'm sad about that. Would be worse off than a womp rat in a crate's belly if it weren't for you. Anyway, looks like the desert's about to act up again. Take care out there. And that should be it.
Vehicle pads are currently open for business.
No, it's fine, it's fine. So someone asked, do I think he would actually be able to build his infinite empire out here? No, not at all. This is one of those cases where this is a threat, because this would cause a lot of issues for a lot of people, and a lot of innocent people would get, you know, converted. But let's be honest with ourselves. This is not a galactic level threat. This is as soon as anybody who actually matters notices, they're going to get stomped into the paste threat.
Think you're all right?
Well, if it isn't my best freelancer. I don't know what your secret is, but I doubt I can afford it.
Was there a base? Did you see the device?
Camus was worried that if you failed, it'd mean the end of the world.
Well, You saw Zerka's records!
Yeah, and I've been worried too, so catch your breath and let's hear it.
That device? It had an ancient creature trapped inside. It had gone insane. I had to kill it.
You're kidding. I had no idea. But if it's settled, that's good enough for me.
So this is over? We're sure?
You'll still need to testify, Camus. The investigation of Zerka won't end here.
Get me to Coruscant, away from the Sand People and Circa cyborg assassins? I'll testify all you want.
You should know. Scanners picked up a Zerka ship fleeing the system. They're running scared now.
Too bad we couldn't bring down the entire company.
We stopped the device from hurting anyone. That's enough of a win. Anyway, I promised you payment. Don't ever say the SIS isn't grateful. Now take care of yourself and try not to get pulled back into these corporate schemes. Camus can tell you, they never really end.
True. So, one of the things that works best about the Infinite Empire is they're not actually your typical
I expected a bit more
super advanced precursor race. Most of what the Infinite Empire did was certainly strong, but it was strong for the time. Or, let me phrase this another way. It's like trying to compare, I don't know, the Roman Empire at its height versus the British Empire at its height. Like, sure, the Roman Empire was impressive. It did a lot of stuff, but they're just not even on the same board. That's probably a terrible comparison, but I'm going to stand by it. Yeah, actually, the Vaadwaur is another perfect example there. They were a threat, you know, however many years ago. I guess we'll just start the bonus series now. You can tell I just sound so excited to do that.
Better?
Nothing outlasts the Energizer Smuggler. It just keeps smuggling and smuggling and smuggling. Where? There it is, there it is.
Get your boy inside. We got 10 minutes before the wind picks up.
What about Chancellor?
She's not stupid. She'll be here. Just go. You should get inside, too. There's a sandstorm coming and the spaceport's a designated shelter. No flights in or out for a while.
Rough flying doesn't scare me. Why don't I grab a speeder, shuttle people back here before the storm hits?
Oh, you're a lifesaver, Captain. Just get yourself inside before we lock down.
We've done all we can. Now we wait.
Well, looks like we got out okay. Pretty much everyone did. Though we lost 3 power generators. I guess that's not exciting next to flying around the galaxy, fighting Imperials on Nar Shaddaa and whatnot.
You're very well informed for, what did you say your job was?
Name's Galen. I'm just a man enjoying his retirement, trying to give something back to the community. Look, these people have it rough in the best of times, but between pirates and sandstorms and sand people, we can't take much more. If you leave without finishing the job you started, how long before the Empire claims this planet?
You're asking me to stay, but I've done what I came for.
And along the way, you helped out all sorts of people. Would it hurt to focus on that for once? Tatooine's only chance is unity. Making communities that can stand together against warlords and monsters. Espellar's our best hope. It's a trading post where farmers, Jawas, and leaders from half a dozen towns swap information. The Empire means to burn it to the ground.
How will the Empire burn it to the ground?
Sandstorm broke Espellar's defenses, and the Imperials will send in saboteurs. You need to give the people breathing room, help them rebuild.
Orso, what are you doing?
Stop the Imperials, head into town, and help put this planet on the path to being a proud, independent society. Or give up and go. Your choice.
There. I guess. Of course, I was like, I'm part of this conversation. I'm a big and important person, and I matter to this story arc. I will do anything to help Winnie the Pooh. Anything. Unless it's that new Winnie the Pooh. That's just terrible.
Open for business.
The other thing that irritates me about the Infinite Empire, in the original intent, and partially in KOTOR, they really weren't a super advanced precursor race. Oh, they were a precursor race, but they avoided the usual trope of being the super advanced race. Which made sense. After all, the actual precursor race that's super advanced in this setting are the Gree. And arguably the jackasses, but God, let's not get into that. They're getting axed. No frickin' ancients. Chop! And they're gone. Or celestial, whatever the hell they call themselves. They're getting axed. That's not a debate. They're gone. They made a failed sun-eating factory, which also killed off their own civilization. That's how super advanced they were. Abeloth? Gone! The Maw? I'll debate that. The father? Gone! The brother? Gone! The sister? Gone! Oh, man, that felt good. I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna recreate them. And then I'm gonna get rid of them again. Oh, yeah, there we go. Whew, okay. Now I gotta murder a bunch of people for dismounting me. I meant the Celestials, Nero says, sorry. Yeah, you think the Infinite Empire advanced. The Celestials built a device that can move planets through hyperspace without causing them any real damage. Yeah, look up Centerpoint Station sometime. It's ridiculous. It's probably the actual worst super weapon in the entire friggin' series. Thank you, Zachariah Jebediah. And yeah, it's what's funny. Are we gonna keep Starkiller from Force Unleashed? The answer continues to be shrug. So the shrug I shall give you. Right after I put this towards dealer's choice. But yeah, so the Maw was actually built by the Celestials to contain Abeloth. That's why that was brought up. In case you missed that, the Maw is a series of black holes that make space effectively untenable in a certain area. So the Celestials did that to imprison Abeloth. Why, Abeloth is gone! Alright, there we go. Woo. Oh man, that just... Oh, that continues to feel good doing that. Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, hell's bells. In addition to things like, you know, that, we've also got... the Killiks were involved in that, if memory serves correctly. And I feel like there was one other random connection to the Celestials. I'm trying to remember what it is. I mean, the World Devastators were awesome. I mean, mobile factories, for God's sakes. I shouldn't say just, it's an amazing weapon. Wait, why are we getting Han Solo? No, we've decided to keep Han Solo. I know. Shocking. But believe it or not, it's not that hard to keep Corellia without keeping the Celestials. In fact, it's shockingly easy. Done! We did it! Oh, man, we're just knocking it out of the park today. Ooh. And duo? I'm not going to make that joke, Giga Pudding. Yeah, let's not even talk about the Necromorphs. Anyway, so you asked a question. Are there many instances in Star Wars of uncontacted peoples? There are probably more than there should be. I don't know. They're the ones that want to get rid of Han Solo, not me. Don't talk to me about this. I don't know. Nothing. Valerian, they want to get rid of Han Solo. Can you believe it?
Hey, you're the people Galen sent, right? Old man's kinda crazy, but he has his moments. I'm Mayor Aaron, and this hole in the sand is mine.
Imperial saboteurs were headed for your outpost. They plan to destroy it.
You're serious? Huh. Who knew? Galen claims this little outpost is key to uniting the planet. I'd like to agree, but I've got other things to worry about. Sand people always follow the sandstorms, and there must be a dozen tribes out there. Plus pirates, broken equipment. It's pull out or be slaughtered.
Why do you and Galen think this outpost is so key?
The outpost builds trade. Trade builds community. Community builds a self-sufficient planet able to defend itself. Not fancy, but it's a start. Look around, and anything you can do, I'll be grateful. Until things clear up, though, I think you're our last visitor.
I don't remember Sarura off the top of my head. I think Luke, to use, was the one who was just there. No dialogue, no personality, because his mind had already been replaced. I could be misremembering, though. The Outsiders, yes? Outsiders, enemies of Sand People. Which I would not like Sand People so much either. You help us with Sand People, maybe we be friends?
That makes sense to me.
Cricket knew you looked like smart outsider. Sand People come here, take many Jawas, lock Jawas up in cages. You go beat up Sand People, get Jawas back. Then everyone happy, except Sand People, but that's okay. You're talking my language.
Wait here. I'll have your people freed in no time.
Ugh, you're very nice for outsider. Even nicer than the Hutts. I feel like I've been insulted. Anybody else get that vibe that we just got insulted?
Sorry to bother you, stranger. We sure could use a hand cleaning up these dead and wounded.
Well, we really need help driving off those sand people who caused this mess.
Let's just kill some Sand People.
I take it the Sand People are responsible for this slaughter.
This and every other one. Call ourselves a militia. We let those sand people walk all over us.
I won't send our boys into a slaughter. They're farmers, not soldiers.
So don't. But when someone who can help comes by, ask them to, instead of getting them to play doctor and mortician.
What exactly do you need me to do?
General, how could we pay? I'm sure there's much more important.
It's obvious we can't do this ourselves. Sand people don't fear us. And every time we turn our backs, they sweep in.
Oh, fine. It can't hurt. The Sand People may camp not far from here. If you reduce their numbers, then they'll think twice about attacking again.
The Force will be with me.
See? I knew someone would be willing to help us. Come back here when you've taught those Sand People a lesson.
We don't got a lot, but I'm sure the folks will be happy to donate to anyone who gets those monsters off their backs.
There. Better?
Desert's quiet for the moment. Too bad it won't last. I'm Junter Galt, leader of the Anchorhead militia in this area. And seeing veteran warriors out here is a welcome sight. Yeah, I've lost too many good militiamen to the Sand People. All I've got left are soft recruits and no one to teach them combat skills.
Are you looking to hire me?
That's right. The militia will compensate you if that's your concern.
Excuse me, sir. I thought you might like a break from watch duty.
I'm not tired yet. There's someone here you should meet. This here's Vastal. Good soldier, but no tactical know-how. He's heading up our new squad of recruits. Think you could take these men under your wing, march them into Sand People territory, show them how a true warrior fights?
Bring the recruits out and we'll start immediately.
Thank you. I promise we won't slow you down.
Prove it in the sand. Astel knows where the sand people lurk. Go with him. Show his crew how to fight.
Do you mind clarifying, Damashi? I'm not saying I disagree, I'm hoping for examples. Is that it? So, Morgoth says we need to keep Darth Bane because he's essential to the rule of two. Now, in no way do I mean this as a negative thing, but that just shows how much you don't understand how we do the rewrite process. Now, that's my fault, of course, because a lot of the rewrite process has been done off camera, because I kind of don't want to go live with the rewrite until it's, you know, done to a point where people can actually enjoy it, other than these streams where we talk about it. So let's talk about this. Here's the overall process. So let's say we're in the writer's room, which we kind of are, and let's say that you right now say, what do we do about Darth Bane? My first thought is, well, okay, what is Darth Bane? Well, he's the origination of the rule of two. Okay, well, what's the purpose of the rule of two? Do we need to have a rule of two? Is there any real design necessity, either narratively or literally, to keep the rule of two? Now, we can actually go further back from that, because from that we have to go back and define, well, what are the Sith? And then we have to go back one more step. Are the Sith? And you get the general idea. A lot of a rewrite process involves a lot of reverse engineering the core mechanics of a story until we get to what it's actually made of and why, and then deciding what we keep and how and where, and redesigning as we need to. So in short, no, Darth Bane is not essential, any more than the rule of two is essential. Now, we might keep both, I don't know, but neither has been decided yet because that's way after step 3. Now, Lucas's original version for the rule of two was specifically to try and explain away why there were so few dark side users in a galaxy run by what he at the time had designed deliberately to be Nazi parallels. So, he had to come up... I'm not actually making this up. He had to come up with some excuse, essentially, for why there's only Darth Vader and Palpatine. Especially since Palpatine wasn't even originally a Force user at all, but that's getting into the weeds a little bit. Hang on. Gotta massacre more Sith people. I mean, sand people here. Don't mind me.
That ought to fix you.
Interesting, Damashi. I don't know if that's a 3 negative territory, but I have to admit that's a very valid thing to bring up. Thank you for mentioning it. I have to admit, I've been playing MMOs in general, and Core in specific, since before MMO as a concept existed, so I have trouble remembering that kind of perspective every now and again. I know, right? Lucas writing himself into a corner, who could think it? I've said this before, and I'll say this again, an inordinate amount of the problems with the prequel era are because Lucas wrote himself into a corner and couldn't write himself out. No, you cannot do the quest chain I'm doing right now as a Sith Warrior. This is a Republic-only chain. Any Republic character can do this, because this is the bonus series. But what you have to do is you have to do the planetary primary first, which is the thing with the Zerka, and from that point you can go ahead and start the bonus series, which we actually just did. So you say Rule 2 is a positive and Darth Bane's a good figure. Now, I don't actually agree with either of those statements, but that's why we talk about this sort of thing. That's the very reason why I have the writer room concept. Right. So we can discuss and debate it and come to some kind of consensus. Now you might say, well, why don't you like that? I say, well, honestly, I still think you're getting too far ahead of it. Because to be completely blunt, we need to rewind. We need to at least define the Force before we even think about doing things like defining the Rule of Two or Darth Bane. Hell, we need to define, what does Darth mean? And again, that goes back into defining the Sith, which goes back into defining the Dark Jedi, which goes back into defining the Force. So on and so on. I had a vague idea once upon a time that the Rule of Two was something that was actually invented by a Jedi to hinder the Sith. And the Sith kind of just bought into it. And that's what led to the, the century of peace without the Sith. It's because they adhered to the Rule of Two. What's funny is one of the bigger benefits of the Rule of Two is something I have never seen discussed in universe. That would be what the hell? Hang on. Cutscene.
I hope you're not planning on settling out here. These parts ain't too friendly to humans. Well, to anyone who ain't one of those blasted sand people. We made sure to build on land the sand people never used. Didn't matter. They're attacking us, our livestock, our vaporators. Anything they can do to drive us off.
You need protection?
Nah. We've built our homes well. We're safe enough inside. All we need is someone who can drive the beast back long enough to repair our vaporators. Long as we're getting fresh water, we can wait them out. Otherwise, dry season will kill us off before the sand people ever do.
There's a non-dry season?
Hey, that's Tatooine, all right. Does that mean you'll do us this favor? You just got to get past the sand people camped around all our vaporators. Wiggle the switch a few times and make sure they're working. And if you cut down their numbers some, well, that'll just help us have a better chance in the next raid.
Sorry, so anyways, to finish my sentence super quick. The benefit of the Rule of Two that, pretty much nobody in universe ever brings up is you prevent power struggles from getting out of hand. Hypothetically, of course. Let me explain what I mean by that. Any situation in which there's more than two people leads to the potential for factionalization. If there are three people, then you have an uneven number. You could have 2 against 1 in any direction. If you have 4 people, well, then what you have is the possibility of any combination of 1, 2, or 3 across whatever kind of factions. You can even have multiple factions in that situation. If you have 5, and so forth and so on. Any number more than 2 leads to the potential for that kind of internecine factionalization, which, obviously, can cause problems. Now, Malachor says that's brought up in universe all the time. I've never seen that brought up before, so I'll have to take your word on that. Where's the vaporators? They're over there. Oh, well, admittedly, I kind of hated the Darth Bane trilogy, so I probably misremember. I'm just straight up not remembering that. God, I hated that book so much. Anyway, sorry, moving on. Point being, I believe you. You're right about everything. I acquiesce to all of your commands. I am your willing slave, Malachor. In all seriousness, though, I don't actually remember that, because I thought that Bane introduced it for the reason that's almost always said in universe. One to seek power, one to have power, one to crave power. And that kind of buys into the Darwinian nature of what the Sith think they actually believe. In other words, the ideal being that every new generation of Dark Lord and apprentice would lead to an even stronger apprentice who would become a Dark Lord and then train their apprentice, making an even stronger apprentice, and so forth and so on. In other words, something that will absolutely never work in any way, shape, or form, because how the hell could that ever possibly work? But again, that kind of thing being very Sith. That's what I always thought Bane did it for. Either way, I'm totally cool with either ejecting or rewriting the Rule of Two, and the Sith, and the Dark Side of the Force, and the Force entirely. Let me explain something else when it comes to the way I tend to write. Now, if I said to you, right now, in the Star Wars rewrite, we should consider removing the Force from Star Wars in the rewrite, what would be your immediate reaction to that?
There. Better?
Listen, if I'm as sexy as Kreia, I'm doing pretty well for myself. I'm just saying. I guess we're just turning in now. Whoop, wrong one. Yeah. Oh, that was weird. All right, so everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's terrible." Good reaction. Now, let me explain why I brought that up. The way I tend to write is very simple. Nothing is off the table. Nothing. Now, that doesn't mean we automatically do it. It means we discuss it. Does that make sense? So, removing the Force from Star Wars should be something that's discussed. Nothing is automatic. Nothing just gets grandfathered in just because. Everything has to justify its existence. Even the Force.
That ought to fix you.
I'm stuck in combat. Give me a minute. Yep, here they come. Sorry, I brought some sand people to your door. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. Admittedly, there is a chance for the Celestials, yes. Good freaking luck, but there is something. It needs to be discussed. This is Grudo Valley from Ocarina of Time.
Thank you. I'll think of you next time I have a shower. Well, you know what I mean. Just water's our life here, and you've given it back to us.
I know what you meant.
Like you've got the whole camp of those sand rats on the run.
Possibly the Crow, but ultimately I just don't care about that, if that makes any sense. People can interpret whatever they want from what I want to do. I just want to rewrite Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, Reloaded and I actually had a really long discussion about this about 2 weeks ago. I have changed lightsabers already. I'm really happy with what I've done with lightsabers. Anyways, I would love it if lots of people... You are dead! You are so goddamn dead, you little snot! I would love it if a lot of people saw the Star Wars rewrite and actually enjoyed it, because that is ultimately one of the biggest benefits of being a creator for me. I like the idea of sharing and other people enjoying something I've made. I know, shocking. But at the end of the day, that's actually priority 2 or 3 on the list for me, if you know what I mean. Priority 1 is I want to make the best story I can, and priority 2 is I want to remix something that I like. So, I want to remake Star Wars. I don't care about using brand attention. I don't care about using something entirely different from the work. I don't care about any of that. None of that matters to me. It's all noise. Jawas, come back. You do good work.
You didn't have any more trouble while I was gone?
Stinky sand people, stay away for now. Big Bug's still there, but we'll save that for later. You have any droid? We give discounts. Java like you now. You can talk to Renishi, yeah? You got it, buddy. What do you got, Renishi? You good friend. Good free Jawas. Maybe help Jawas again? Bug people take Jawa home. Bug people kill everyone who try to make them go. Maybe you make bug people leave so Jawa can go home.
I'm sure I can persuade them to move along one way or another.
Renishi think maybe grenades work better than words on good bug people. Bug people kill militiamen. Militiamen have more explosives. You take. Militiamen not need any more anyway. Blow up bug people equipment. Bug people leave, yes? Jawa go home. Probably Korgoth. By the way, you're more than welcome to join. Indeed, thoughts that we're just sharing on stream, like right now, are certainly part of the writer's room. Literally.
That's the last of the wounded. Sent those who could walk onto Anchorhead, just in case.
Looks like that won't be a concern after all, Dak. Look who's back. Did you drive those sand people off? Teach them not to mess with our settlements?
The sand people won't be bothering you anymore.
Thank the stars. We, passed the collection. Not much really, but we're grateful. Really, we are.
You need the credits far more than I do.
Seriously.
Well then, we're doubly grateful. Folks out here are breathing easy for once. We appreciate what you've done.
Let's actually switch players. I just realized I have a 1 hour... Whoa, that's loud, that's loud. have this playing in the background while we do this. Let me turn in this. Okay. Did I already do this? Whatever. Oh, it's timed. Okay. Okay. So, I guess my answer, Crow, once again, is I don't care. So, let me try to answer you directly. I like remixing stories, and I don't need to explain that to anybody who understands it, because you either understand it or you don't. I've discovered this over the years. Some people understand the desire and favor of remixing an existing story. Some people don't. If you're one of the ones that don't, that's fine, then we're done. But to me, I do enjoy remixing things. It's something I have a great deal of enjoyment and creative stimulation from. It enriches my life to do so. So to me, I look at something like, you know, remixing Star Wars and I say, hell yes. But I'm probably far more willing to go into variations from the source material than most people are, because I am the opposite of a purist. I do not care about, you know, trying to adhere to some kind of doctrine or some kind of berry box or anything else like that. Again, primary goal is to maintain a good working quality. Goal 2 is the remix. Goal 3 is for a lot of people to enjoy it. But that brings me to Goal 4, which I haven't actually talked about before. So here's the deal. If I was to sit everyone in this chat right now down and say, all right, I'm giving you a quiz, okay? It's a very simple quiz. Hang on, Crow, hang on, give me a second. And this quiz is, I want you to write down a bullet point of everything you consider to be essential to what Star Wars is. The things that can't be removed from Star Wars, let me put it that way. And I guarantee you, with total certainty, that 100% of you would give me a different list. Nobody would think the same things are essential. Now, why is this relevant? Because I have my own things that I consider to be essential for Star Wars. And, well, that's kind of how that is. But I can't consider what everybody considers to be essential for Star Wars, because that's actually impossible. Does that make sense? I literally cannot bow to the will of the people, so to speak, about keeping things in Star Wars. That line lends towards insanity. Now that would be true even if I was, you know, Disney, even if I was actually in charge of Star Wars and what was Star Wars going forwards. That's not possible, and therefore I'm not even going to try to do it. Now, there are of course ranges of acceptability. You know, if we start introducing Star Wars pornos, maybe we need to have a chat, but you get my overall point. I do think that there's, you know, we've got the circle of essentials, and then we've got a huge range of debatables, and it's not until we get way out here that we get to the point where we can start arguing it's not Star Wars, my opinion. And even then, there'll be people who won't agree, because they're people.
Wish I could have joined the fight. Just catching a bit through the viewer got my blood pumping.
They're exceptional teachers, sir. I'm ready for anything.
I see all the recruits return safely. Never thought I'd see the day.
I enjoyed leading them. Quite the impressive fighters.
Not so loud. I don't want them getting all smug on me.
Hey.
There. Better?
Okay.
Thanks for your help. I'll take over the training from here.
Are we okay? No, okay, we're okay. We didn't bug out.
Emergency! I repeat, this is Cole Darba at Manister Base, and this is an emergency! Manister Base is under attack! Send reinforcements, now!
I'll go, sir. I can take our remaining recruits.
You've been on one training mission. Don't be foolish. I hate asking you again, but I've got no choice and less time. Could you lead Vastil and his forces into battle?
We should head out immediately.
Excellent. Vastil, take the reserve recruits and scout ahead.
Yes, sir. We'll depart immediately.
Vastil will serve you well. But he's green, and don't forget that. Please go to Manister Base. The recruits will need all your help repelling the attackers, whoever they are.
That's a good answer, Giga Pudding. That's right, they made this stuff daily now, that's why. Anyways, so I suppose that's true, Crow, but I consider that to be an acceptable risk. I don't agree with dogma as a concept. So I don't agree with the idea that there's some things that can never be done within the realm of reason. I'm even saying that, I'm saying that wrong. There are things that should never be done in fiction, my opinion. That list is so small that it's microscopic and doesn't belong in this conversation. So, now that we've gotten the asterisk out of the way, let's move on to the reality, which is, essentially, nothing should be off the board, right? Now, what that means... Let me try to explain this, because I feel like I'm not. The Star Wars rewrite is probably going to have the Force. But it's not going to be because we have to. It's because we can come up with a good reason to. Does that make sense? I am very anti-traditionalist. I freely admit that. But that doesn't mean I think traditions are bad or shouldn't be done. It's that I think traditions should be challenged. I'm talking on a grand scale as well as on a micro scale. How I cook every day isn't something that needs to be a specific pattern unless it needs to be a specific pattern. Does that make sense? So, the Force will almost assuredly exist within the Star Wars rewrite because we can do stuff with it, because we agree with it, and because we want to, not because we have to.
I think you're all right.
So it'll be a discussion. Like most things will be.
Thank goodness you're here. Cole was smart enough to hide after sending the call, but now they've got us pinned down.
It's no use. The Geonosians are swarming over the supply depot, raiding our provisions.
What are Geonosians?
They're a brutal, insect-like species. They don't look it, but they're brilliant technicians. Their battle droids alone killed some of our best men. We won't fare any better.
We can't wait. We must defeat the Geonosians before they take our remaining supplies.
Kill enough, and you might be able to break them. Salvage some of the supplies. Still, it's too dangerous.
I'll wipe out these aliens single-handedly. How many were there again?
This is our fight. We can help you defeat them.
No, we can't! They'll blast us to pieces if we engage them. Maybe if you attack the Geonosians, thin them out, we could sneak away in the confusion.
I'm not running away, whatever the danger. Please, let us fight with you.
No.
I won't risk your lives. Sit still until I've cleared the way.
If you insist. I'm sorry we can't help.
You're just lucky your leader knows what's best for you.
I suppose you're right. Once the path's clear, we'll head for the nearby speeder pad. I know a doctor there who'll patch us up.
Anyways, I did get your question, Latario, about the Cray equals Aaron blah, blah, blah theory. We had a whole discussion about that during the KOTOR 2 lore run, which, if I'm being totally honest, I don't remember right now. So that's why I didn't answer immediately. I was trying to gather my thoughts on that, and then I got off topic. But the long and the short of it
You're all right.
is I don't remember, so I don't know. And that's my thoughts on that.
That ought to fix you.
That's always been my purpose, Korgoth. To bring balance to the world. I mean, to the Force. Vote for me. 2024. Alright, so, let's kill all these people. The darkest part of Star Wars lore? Ekbaloth, that's a joke. Honestly, read up on what the Sarlaccs actually are sometime. Like, really, really read up on what they are sometime. Sarlaccs do not belong in Star Wars. There's my opinion on that matter. And they're gone. All right, there we go. Whew. Ah, whew, that feels good. Just wiping all that stuff out. Yeah, Dathomir's funny. I always got the very strong impression that the reason it wasn't horrific death doom around Luke was specifically because of Yoda actively pacifying everything. Yeah, while he was there. I mean, in the books, the swamp overtakes his little hut in, like, what, a couple years? Oh, I'm sorry. Right, you said Dathomir. Dathomir is... Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, much worse. Different kinds of worse, though. Okay, that map is useless. That one? That's one. Yeah, then there's the Vong, which are also probably going to be axed.
I think you're all right.
Yeah, Dune's cool. Let's do that. But, no, Dune's cool. Okay. Boy, isn't that just Star Wars in a nutshell? Let's make this one random throwaway creature for no other reason than to be a quick environmental threat for an action sequence. And let's turn it into one of the most horrifying things in the entire setting.
You're all right.
Yeah, that's the Sarlacc in a nutshell right there. Jesus. Oh my god, don't remind me of the Wall of the Faithless. Don't do it. Don't do it. I will turn this stream right around. No, Sarlaccs don't produce anything. Unlike those damn spiders. Ugh. Freaking spiders. Yes, Sarlaccs produce more Sarlaccs. Literally. They are galactic-level parasites. They're basically Lavos, except minus everything good about Lavos.
There. Better?
That says something. Anyways, what the hell was... Okay, so hang on. Alex asked a question. Alright, I'm in Star Wars. I have the Frostmourne. Or the King Mourners. One of the Mourns.
There. Better?
Is there a better race to power it up than the Sand People? Watch the Chrono Trigger review someday when I actually do it, Blade Taval, and I will answer that question. With many positives. Yeah, no, I think we should just power up Frostmourne off the Sand People. Their souls will not go to waste. Where are these stupid explosives? Oh, I got all these. No, I'm still missing one stupid explosive. God damn it.
I think you're all right.
I hate this quest so much. I'm sorry, Blade Taval. I meant Lavos is a good thing, you know, in us, to us, the real people. Although, actually, that's not true. Without Lavos, there would be no humanity. So, yeah, that's a plus. Well, okay. Without Lavos, there'd be no civilization. That's probably a better... No, hang on. There'd be no human civilization. There we go, we got it. Them filthy reptites needed to go. It was the only way. It was them or us, for some stupid reason, even though it shouldn't have been, but let's not get into that right now. Okay, that's done. Oh. There we go.
There.
I love how useless this map is. It's not a bunch of blue, like it is in some worlds. It's just useless in general. That's a good question, J. Palmer. I refer to point 3 once again.
That ought to fix you.
Fine. I'm glad you liked it, Blade Taval. Legit. There's few things as embarrassing as really talking up something and then someone being like, man, that sucked. I'm just like, oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't... Sorry.
That ought to fix you.
Yeah, it's implied that telekinetic powers were a natural byproduct of the planet. The planet ID, the planet entity, whatever you want to call that. Which is its own thing. Do I agree with Rodney's suggestion on killing baby Thanos? Remind me. Oh, I don't remember. I know you're talking about Korgoth, but I don't remember their names. Where's the... Is it just here? No! Giga's been defeated! Shoot, where's Giga? I'm trying to find this stupid mainframe. God, I hate this quest so much. Out of range. Where is it? Over here somewhere? I didn't say they were dangerous, Nerazhez. I said they were disgusting and don't belong in Star Wars. Which is a statement I stand behind. Okay, where is this goddamn thing? Is it outside? This is actually pissing me off. It's like actually pissing me off. That's a damn shame, because we've been having a good discussion. Absolutely hate the bonus series so fricking much. There's probably a good bonus series. I probably am not remembering it. But I have extremely bad memories of the bonus series, and this is why. This crap right here. Ah. So do I agree with killing a baby Hitler, is what you're asking. Depends. But you asked me specifically in Thanos' case, and knowing what we know now about the nature of time travel, I thought you were a no today, Gary. So I was operating under the no principle. Thank you, whoever got that. Die! Actually, I'm gonna die. I'm already way too damaged and have no healing whatsoever. Death with honor! Correct, get Judas. When I'm done streaming, Gary. At the moment might be the end of the Tatooine bonus series, if we ever reach it! God, I hate this so much. So, killing baby Hitler. Almost assuredly, Giga. You know what? I'm just going to pass on that, if that's okay. I'm just going to straight up pass on that question. You know, I literally got that question about 30 seconds ago, Nero says. No joke. It's still in chat. What are you doing? What's going on here? Thanks for going south. Are we? What are we doing here? Talk to, speak to, turn in. So that's the Geonosis offensive. Talk to Dr. Enter. Where's Dr. Enter? And why is this map so crap? Whatever. Warp 2. Warp 2.
That ought to fix you.
Listen, Nerazaz. There's no such thing as a life outside of chat. Where the hell am I? Ah, damn. I mean, it's a hypothetical anyways that has no real bearing in real life, so I suppose that's whatever. Thank God for that, I'm right. Oh God, there's quests here. There's quests here. You know what's the best part is, everyone? This is Tatooine. We're not even at the bad planets yet.
Vehicle pads are currently open for business. Have a safe and pleasant stay.
So, we actually already have precedence on that, Dimashi. I haven't forgotten about that. The funny thing is, I think every MMO that I intend to review will get the triple negative on tutorials. Yes, all of them. Because all of them have mechanics, or specific vendors, or specific concepts, or specific areas for certain craftings, or quests, or chains, or whatever, that are all over the place. And never properly explained. Ever, in some cases. How many times have I had to ask someone, or have you had to ask someone, or look it up on the wiki how to do X, Y, or Z? How many times has there been a feature you didn't know existed in an MMO?
Little blaster fire, a few explosions, and your bug friends may have been encouraged to move.
Bedwana urbi kilawato bangki, dungko podokanoda. Tikaya skre grula waska.
Oh, I envy you, Morganite. I think of ARR and I just... Ugh. Okay, that's down there. Okay, okay. Yeah, figuring out how to link an item.
Vehicle pads are currently open for business.
Hell, even selling on the auction house isn't as obvious as it probably should be. How to unlock a speeder? Yeah, there you go. That might be it, Morganite. I admittedly have played through ARR, I guess 2.5 times at this point. Which I guess isn't that much, not compared to WoW Vanilla's like 14, but still.
Hey, company! It's about time! Come to see me off? Care to have a drink with the unluckiest soldier this side of... wherever we are?
You smell like you've had a few too many drinks already.
I've only just got started 2, maybe 3 hours ago. Whole squad got wiped out in an ambush. Now it's just me. Figure I ought to try to finish our mission, though. Owe it to them and all. Just no way I'm making it out alive.
I assume your objective wasn't to sit there and get drunk.
Supposed to slice the Empire's comm relays. Would have been high risk even when I had backup. Got the data spike here. You want it? You can have it. Not like I'll get close enough to use it anyhow. If you can slice the relays, maybe my squad didn't die for nothing.
Sorry, they died for nothing. Spoilers, I guess. Do I think the Galaxy took the Reaper threat and coordinated properly? Would they defeat the Reapers conventionally? Yes, absolutely. No question.
What luck. Excuse me, passerby, if I might impose. I am Fez Burba, scientist notary of the Republic and planetary consult to the Galactic Senate.
Master, weren't you removed from that position?
Nonsense. The committee only reassigned me to Tatooine because they recognized this planet's dire need of my genius. I was about to solve Tatooine's permanent drought problems when disaster struck my research. However, I think you could help.
Okay.
Weren't you conducting research on Coruscant?
Yeah.
Since Coruscant was not an immediate danger, the research committee thought my talents would be better employed on Tatooine. My research indicates that there could be massive reserves of water deep beneath the planet's surface. Think of what that would mean to the people of Tatooine. Crops, refreshments, bathing.
Bathing is pretty cool.
I think we both know that's not true.
It is the absolute truth, and I can prove it. I was testing my theory when the Sand People raided my laboratory. I was about to send my remaining assistant to retrieve the results.
I assure you, Master, it's impossible. There are still hordes of Sand People pillaging that region.
Given the lack of success by his predecessors, that would appear to be true.
How many assistants have you sent on this errand?
Oh, about 3. Was it 4? No matter. Their sacrifices will not be forgotten once Tatooine is covered in fertile growth. While you're out among those bloodthirsty savages, if you find my missing assistants, please retrieve them. Much of my research data is stored in their memory cores.
But yes, that's the one, Mace, if memory serves.
Wow. Nice.
Okay.
You're at least get your nando what it goes by. Any continga.
Sure thing.
No need, Doctor. You can return to your duties. Recruits are resting, and Cole will be fine once the doctors are through with him. We've heard of your victory against the Geonosians. The battle must have been impressive.
The fight was brutal and cold. Don't aspire to such violence.
I didn't. I mean, I'm grateful for what you've done. You've taught us well. I'm to be fully initiated into the Anchorhead Militia thanks to you. Do you have any advice for me before I join the service?
Yeah, don't die.
Sorry, kid. You're on your own.
I understand. I'm in charge of my own destiny now. Thank you again. I'll carry myself in your image as I defend the city.
Yeah, one of the options was don't join the militia. Oh, that was, depressing. As all things should be. Except some writers think. Alright, so, we got here. Hey, Mr. Red.
Welcome. You look like you've been around. Our water shortage could use talent like you. Oh, name's Dester. Moisture farmer. Most important job there is on this dust ball. Well, water's everything here. Harvest it with evaporators, sell what we don't need. Made a good living before the pirate attacks.
What pirates?
Filthy thieves who steal our water and mark up the price to sell in the black market. Bad as it is, though, people prefer extortion to losing precious water shipments in a skirmish. We'll dry up and die, they keep us in this chokehold. Please, help us survive if you have the means to.
I won't even waste the water it would take to break a sweat.
Ha! 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 That's the spirit! Here are the containers. Now, anything you can do may make the difference between life and death.
Sure, Console, why not? As long as they don't involve the Borg. Or Warhammer 40k. So off limits. I mean, Arrakis is worse than Tatooine, but Dune is worse than Star Wars, so that's whatever. I don't mean, like, as a storytelling thing. I mean to live in. Like, seriously, would you want to live in the Dune setting? Because I wouldn't. Anyways, Blade Taval mentions how, I don't know, Laura, I think you're extremely stupid. And you're right. But just to give a bit of a personal anecdote, I was still looking up how certain things worked. And in some cases didn't know certain mechanisms existed in Final Fantasy XIV until this year. Reminder, I've been playing FF14 since ARR and 1.0. Sidious versus Nihilus. Nihilus. Sidious versus Vishay. Sidious. You weren't there for this console hot, assuredly. But we once did a Versus series in Star Wars. It was a whole tournament. We had votes and discussions and debates about it. It was actually pretty cool. For the Star Wars series, we invalidated Nihilus. You're probably thinking, but why? Because Nihilus was literally cheating. Anytime Nihilus would fight against anyone other than another hole in the Force, Nihilus would win. Yeah, exactly. Nihilus is kind of unique. So that was just kind of the end of that. How many of those are there? To my knowledge, 2. Counting Nihilus. So, not a lot. No, because nothing in 40k can be eaten by him, and he can be eaten by everything in the warp. So 40k wins, Nihilus is a punk. Death! Ooh, that was actually close. Actually heal for that one. Okay. Now let's kill a whole bunch of sand people, because genocide is awesome when it's sand people. It's free. It's okay. You don't have to feel bad. It's like killing Nazis. Wipe out all the Nazis. Nobody cringes when you say that. It's cool. Nazi death. Yeah, honestly, Nihilus was designed around the main character of KOTOR 2, which was a good move, I might add. A bit of an insight into what we could and arguably should have been. The biggest flaw with Nihilus, and with the main character of KOTOR 2, is that characters like that, wounds in the Force, should probably be a lot more common, given how much crap goes on in this galaxy. Now, that being said, that'll be another thing for Option 2 in the Star Wars rewrite. Do wounds in the Force exist? Because if they do, we have to acknowledge and account for that in every other major battle ever. Like Alderaan, just to name the extremely obvious example. As I say, there's plenty of times in Star Wars where there probably should have been a wound in the Force. There wasn't, because KOTOR 2 isn't canon. Does Alderaan happen in the rewrite? Good question. Turn to point 3. Well, the first thing they would have done was they would have cut us off from the Force, and then Nihilus would have eaten the galaxy, and then the entire galaxy would have died. The end. Yep, happy ending all around. Oh yeah, there's another one. The Death Star. That was a lot of people. I mean, if it bleeds, we can kill it, Alex. I mean, it would be funny, wouldn't it, if Rook killed the galaxy because of fear? Onto a military battle station? Probably not, Mike Romano. I could see that in Starfleet, because Starfleet's a military, but I don't think I could see that in the Galactic Empire. Hey, look, there's a holocron up there. I have to admit, I love the idea of a wound in the Force, but if we're being honest with ourselves, that's the kind of thing you only want to add to your setting if you're really being careful about it. It's not quite to the level of, say, time travel, but it's a similar problem. Once you've added it to your setting, you have irrevocably changed the setting forever. And given how integral the Force probably is to Star Wars, well, you see the issue. Well, the Force absolutely should be killed. Bloody nuisance. Oh, I remember this area so much. Ugh, screw this area. Well, the other possibility, other than the death of everything, Lothario, is actually really simple. The Council does nothing because they can't. They didn't cut off Mitra from the Force the first time, so they can't cut her off from the Force the second time. They literally don't know how to. They think they do. But they don't. You say that, Pillars of Snow, but again, please think about how many horrific circumstances already exist within Star Wars canon. Nah, I got an easy answer. You want an easy answer for you? I got an easy answer for you. We make it so being a wound in the Force doesn't give you any kind of superpowers. Or, put simply, there's no benefit to being a wound in the Force. So, off the top of my head, you can't wield the Force anymore. And you're probably more vulnerable to its effect. So it's a lose-lose situation. There you go. Now, you're probably thinking, well, that's pretty messed up. Why would you do that? Well, let's just say that some extremely evil person like, I don't know, Palpatine, realized that he could cause a horrific massacre, and in so doing, potentially cause a wound in the Force to lock out anybody who is around or survivor of it from the Force forever. Think about it. Oh, these things hurt. I'm gonna heal up again for a second. Well, first it gives you superpowers, Blake Javal. The rest doesn't really matter. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hold up. Ah! Sudden dry attack. Oh my god. Come on! I had a dry attack. You know, where your throat just basically gets really weirdly, suddenly dry to the point where drinking doesn't do anything about it. It's actually primarily why I have this freaking Dayquil right next to my desk at all times, for those. What was I talking about? I've already lost my train of thought completely. Something about how Nihilus is awesome, and being in the wound of the Force makes you naturally draw the Force from others and kind of bend them to your will. It was being done as a sort of a ha-ha, tongue-in-cheek kind of a way to examine being a player character in a video game where you have choices that determine the the paths and character arcs of your companions. Because you can convert pretty much all your companions to good, evil, or in between, and the in-lore explanation for that is the fact that you are doing so by being a wound in the Force. I agree, being a wound in the Force is extremely well explained. I don't see why that's even being mentioned, Latario. Unless I said something while I was choking, which you misunderstood, or I misstated, which is one of the two. And possibly, certainly both. Are the wounds in the Force in Tor? No comment. Where is this? There it is. Stupid thing. But yeah, exactly. So if you can make a wound deliberately, which, let's be honest, there's nothing preventing someone who has the power and time and means to do so, let's just say there should be a lot more wounds. The galaxy's a big place, and there's a lot of people who have an investment and a time and money and resources to do so. Which, again, the easiest answer is to either nerf being a wound into the ground, or remove being a wound entirely. Which, if I'm being honest, that's what I'm most leaning towards in the rewrite. Just ejecting the very concept of a Force wound outright. God, I hate sand people. Of course, they're irritating and they get everywhere. No, making the wound of the Force is already extraordinarily hard to do. That's not really a good limiter. It's one of the problems with dealing with any setting that is a galaxy-wide or larger setting. The moment you have a galaxy filled with quintillions of beings is the moment you have made a lot of things a lot more probable, just because of statistical possibilities. It's funny you mentioned that, Bragwin. My biggest theory about Leia is Leia should be a wound in the Force, specifically. In fact, I had that theory for quite a while to help explain why her Force powers developed so much slower, and yet so much more precisely in different directions than Luke's did. I don't agree, I guess, Latario? I'm sorry. I'm just gonna let that one go. Agree to disagree. Moving on. No! Malicor's dead. Somewhere. Way down there. Oh, jeez. You will be missed, Malicor. Mostly because you were arguing with me about Force stuff. I'm sorry.
You found the water! Thank you! I don't know what to say. This harvest belongs to the people of Tatooine. I'll see that it's handed out freely. A sign of solidarity, our willingness to fight back. Never expected an off-worlder to help like this. We won't forget what you've done here.
It was all part of the plan, Malicor. That's what they taught me back in debate class. If you can't win the debate, go punch the other guy. I'm joking.
I knew it! I knew it! I knew you'd return victorious. See, BT-9? That could be you striding confidently back to my praise.
Yes, Master. I will always regret what could have been.
Now, my illustrious hero. My research?
I believe we still need to resolve the small matter of compensation.
You? You expect to be paid? What about the betterment of society? The greater good? Oh well, I suppose you deserve something for your trouble. Please accept this as a token of my gratitude. Good day.
Oh, that's interesting. Apparently, Alderaan did create a Force wound. Is this EU or AU? It doesn't say. Looks like it's EU. So in the EU, Alderaan did create a Force wound, canonically, which makes sense. No, so I'm speaking incorrectly here. So let me just quote the article word for word, because I think this gets it across rather clearly. Wounds in the Force were most often centered in astrographical locations where the traumatic events took place, such as Malachor 5 or Alderaan. But they could also form in individuals, such as Mitra Surik or Darth Nihilus. So, the answer to your question is, to who was it, is Alderaan.
I'm
telling you, people, we could save lives. Why won't you rubes listen to me? These sand people may be violent, but they have a society and customs. I know ways to make them leave you alone if you weren't too ignorant to listen.
Nobody likes a loudmouth. Gotta play it smooth.
This is no time for joke. Wait, you aren't local. Maybe you can actually help this situation. I've been studying the Sand People for some time, and while their attacks are savage, they're not mindless beasts. They merely respect strength. Rival Sand People's tribes often send warriors into each other's camps to fight ritual challenges and prove their strength. If someone here, you perhaps, were to undertake such a ritual challenge, I'm confident it would earn their respect and end their attacks.
I wasn't planning to live forever anyway. I'm in.
Take this. The Sand People I observed carried a similar object. Plant it in their cap and kill everyone. Done. Save these dull-minded drakes yet. Nice dude. Apparently, Serendipple, which was during the Yuzun Vong thing, also became a Force wound. Also, the wipeout of the Happen Royal Navy during the Battle of Fondor is another example. Well, that exact example comes from the Death Star novel, specifically. Vishy's homeworld would probably qualify, too.
Well, I just did your job for you. Happy now?
You mean I can go home? And I'm not dead? Stranger, I drink to you, but I think I'll stop while I can still stand.
I can't remember the name of the damn place.
I'll dry out a little and call for someone to pick me up. Thank you again.
What was his stupid planet? Tenebrae, Tenebrae. Medrios. Which they later renamed Nathema. That's right. That's the planet. Could be, Neurozos. It's also, considering the fact that supposedly Sirik just heals over time, it's entirely possible that all Force wounds are supposed to just heal over time. Although, I grit my teeth at considering that canon because that acknowledges the Revan book as canon. Which makes me grit my teeth, as I feel like just said. Hitler. Definitely Hitler. And not just because he was based on Hitler. It's actually funny, Sarura. You know why I used to hate Debate Club? Legitimately. Like, no jokes, no memes. I'm not a big fan of winning. No, really. I don't debate people to beat them, to convince them of my side of the argument. I have no interest in that. It's like PvP. I'm not a PvPer. Yep, the Revan book is canon. It's the game we're playing right now. Yeah, really do not like the Revan book. That's probably the nicest thing I can say about it. Are we done? Was that it? That was it. Wow! Defeat 2 dudes. Jesus. We did it! Da -da 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 -da. I was right. My hypothesis was utterly correct. Since you've left, there have already been reports of Sand people carefully avoiding local settlements. They now respect our strength, just as I thought.
All I need now is my fee.
Yes, fine. Although participating in my achievement should be reward enough. Oh, shut up. This will be a tremendous boon to my research. I must begin my formal documentation immediately. I must have missed that one. I'm sorry, Lothario. So, how did I feel when it happened? Oh, that sucks. How do I feel now? Oh, thank God. Any questions?
Welcome. Please select an available travel route.
Oh, I think we might be done. And now, when I say done with Tatooine, what I mean is half done, because ignoring the fact that we have 6 other class stories to do here, we still have to do Tatooine on the Imperial side. Oh, the bonus series is very tacked on. That's part of why we're reviewing it. To showcase that people shouldn't do the bonus series. But also because it sucks and it's content and yada yada yada. Darth Tenebrae's theme starts playing. No! No, oh God, no, please.
Galen, I've done all I can to help the locals.
That's what I keep hearing. Mayor Erin says her outpost's reopened for trade. She's got visitors from as far as Mos Maran, talking and working together. There are farmers who aren't afraid of Sand people anymore. Militiamen you inspired. You've given Tatooine a reason to fight.
You said if I did this, Tatooine could stop an Imperial takeover.
We'll never be strong enough to beat the Empire, but united, we can convince them we're too much trouble to conquer. Now get out of here before another sandstorm hits. If you can save Tatooine in a day, I imagine the galaxy needs you.
It's time I got a real answer. Who are you? And how do you know about me?
I suppose I owe you that much. Some Jedi boldly save worlds, others fight empires, and some put their lightsabers aside and help in smaller ways. Go on. We won't meet again. And though this planet won't remember you, what you've done will change it forever.
That's why Jim Cummings is awesome, because he can do that kind of voice so effortlessly. Oh my God, I have a new outfit. It's terrifying.
Take a look at the stock. What can I get you?
Game.
Appreciate your business.
Game. There we go.
Best prices this side of the galaxy. You check. Take a look at the stock. What can I get you?
That was some interesting inventory lag. So what made me change my mind about why I'm very grateful we never got a KOTOR 3 and instead got a TOR? Because we know what KOTOR 3 would have been. With the advantage of hindsight and information, we are quite familiar with what KOTOR 3 would have been. It would have been the Jedi Knight story. I hate the Jedi Knight story. If you followed up KOTOR 2 with TOR JK, please think about that for a second. Yeah, and the Dreadmasters, which honestly just continues to make my point for me. We'll see, Malachor. We'll see. Do you wonder how long that took? About a fourth of the way, well, maybe more than that. When I got to the first town after we killed the 18 dudes, I fired up that music we've been listening to, the Lut Ghilain music. That was 54 minutes and 42 seconds ago.
Master, you'll be pleased to know I added extra padding to all the seat cushions aboard this vessel. I hope to find them.
I mean, in all sincerity, we will see. I am actually quite curious how Jedi Knight will score. Because I want to know who the worst is. Because, yeah.
Wasn't sure I'd see you alive again, much less with that sensor computer. How did you get it?
Diego Hickson passed away unexpectedly. Left me a generous inheritance.
He's dead? Good. I mean, for your reputation. Sorry I didn't get a chance to chat with him before he died. My holo malfunctioned.
Really? You had technical difficulties?
Happens all the time. The Suns here play havoc with comm frequencies. With that sensor computer installed, this freighter will be a first-rate scout vessel. I'll patch it into the ship's rectenna before takeoff. You should notice a difference right away.
I expect to be warned whenever there's trouble around.
The way things go for us, we'll have to reset the alarm every other parsec. Let's leave this sandball in our rear thrusters, Captain. Nokdrayan's fortune is out there waiting for us.
Game doesn't like it. Oh, that pisses me off so much. I'm not even gonna repeat myself. I'm not even gonna repeat myself. Y'all can suck it. God damn it. I'm thinking about what I owe you. On Kashyyyk, we spoke of life debts. A Wookiee whose life was saved owes his service for life.
That sounds like slavery. Or worse, marriage. No thanks.
I've been a slave. I would not do it again for any debt. I do honor you. I will not leave lightly.
Is there something you need to be happy you're here?
You serve the Republic, you fill your pockets. Both are good. But there's more. Others suffer while I am free. I would help them if I can. I would do off-camera fade to blacks. No matter the cost. I'm so happy.
Nothing worse than coming to the realization that your parents were right. Can't stop thinking about Rona. My folks always said she'd come to no good in the big city. And there she is, a stooge for some spice smugglers.
You told her what you think. The rest is up to her.
Her life matters to me, Captain. Hard to trust her with it when I see how she's treated it. It's not like I didn't see it coming. Dr. Hope. I just didn't want to think that was really who Rona had fallen in with. That's what I get for trying to see the best in folks.
If there's any good in this galaxy, you'll be the one to find it.
I don't plan to stop giving anyone the benefit of the doubt. If I trust the wrong guy, maybe I get hurt. But if I'm too scared to help someone who really needs it, who knows how many people will suffer?
Okay. That's cool. So this is strange. I have no quests. Oh, wait, there we go. Alderaan. Right. So maybe I'll just get that out of my log. Force Donut. Oh, Alderaan. Oh, Alderaan. You like bugs, right? Right? I hope you like bugs.
Alderaan certainly is the prettiest world on our itinerary. Don't let all that breathtaking scenery fool you, though. This is the most dangerous planet of the core worlds. The nobles here could teach the Sith a few things about backstabbing and assassination.
You should hide in my bunk, where it's safe.
Tempting, but I'll take my chances with the nobles. I'm reckless that way. Every so often, the noble families spill their bloodlines fighting for the throne. The current succession war is the bloodiest on record. Since the Empire arrived to put its own puppet in charge, there's no telling who will come out on top.
Who's the big shot around here?
House Ulgo seized the throne, but maybe not for long. The whole planet's a war zone. The first time I visited, I thought all the nobles were so glamorous. Then I saw the truth. These people don't know how lucky they are, or what they should do with their fortunes. They don't deserve to rule.
These nobles really upset you, don't they?
I couldn't care less about them. All that matters is getting what we came here for. Your first delivery is a piece of glaze cake. All you have to do is escort that antique power droid to House Organa's castle. Since House Organa runs this spaceport and their castle is right around the corner, dropping off the droid should be a quick run.
Got any info on House Organa?
They like to present themselves as the good guys, but they're pretty shrewd politically. You won't be dealing with them, though. The droid belongs to a couple of young nobles, Len Turan and his sister Sidonia. Decent people, all things considered.
Got it. I'd better get moving.
Am I reading this correctly? The only planet without a bonus series is Corellia? I've heard that opinion before, Sarura, and it wouldn't surprise me. Like, let's fill a planet with a bunch of snobby assholes and giant bugs that, you know, forcibly assimilate other people. Done. Welcome to Alderaan. It's very pretty. It's gonna be in pieces soon. Then you can take some home for yourself. Yeah. Oh no! Anyways. No, I do not, Lotario. Well, okay, let me walk that back. So far, I would say there's more evidence that the Maker doesn't exist than there is. I don't really have much of a horse in that race, one way or the other. Yeah, seriously. Blow up Terrace. God. And kill the Killiks while we're at it. Yeah, I've actually done the black hole section. Quite a bit, actually. It's getting too loud. Ugh.
Excuse me. Please, I have an urgent call from Organa Palace.
Okay.
Stay calm. Tell me what's going on.
I'm only the messenger. You'll have to talk to him.
I'm General Kashi. The Republic and House Organa require immediate emergency assistance and our vessel indicates combat readiness. Please acknowledge.
I'm here at the bidding of the Jedi Council. What do you need?
The Republic is allied with House Organa and pledged to its defenses. Our forces have repelled an attack by the enemy House Thule. That's Imperial backers, but our foe is now employing a scorched world tactic.
I don't understand. What are these houses?
Alderanian nobility. There's no time for history now. The enemy Thule battle squads and their Imperial droids are laying high-yield baradium explosives in your area. One baradium bomb could level a mountain. A dozen could...
You've got to stop the Thule squads before they turn this place into a crater.
Alright.
I can stop them. Can you tell me any more?
I saw some of the Thule soldiers on my way here. I don't know anything else. Don't let them blow us up.
Also true, Lotario. Ironically, the doesn't exist or doesn't care argument isn't really definitive, unfortunately. Whoop. Weird. Okay. I'm just trying to recover from Tatooine. Don't mind me. Honestly, Tatooine wasn't bad. In fact, I actually kind of liked the primary quest chain. It's the bonus series that made me want to chew my own hat. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a recurring thing, by the way. Alright, we did this place now to do the bonus series. Alright, we did this now to do the bonus... By the way, Belsavis' bonus series. That's all I'm going to say about that, is just Belsavis' bonus series. Oh my god. So far, every bonus series we've done has been bad. All of them. Oh, Zeiss asked the question. Take a drink. Listen, if you don't like DuckTales music, we're gonna have a chat. Yeah, good. Over some donuts! I actually do like Alderaan, unironically. I joke about it, but it's kind of in a... Oh my god, this place! You know what I mean? It's reasonably well written. Reasonably well written. It just needs to be destroyed! In-universe, you know, in-universe. Yes, Space Switzerland. Alpine Worlds, I believe, is what they call those. Okay, is that all of them? Yes. You know what? I think I would agree with that, because I do remember the Balmoran bonus series. That's the one you can flirt with as a Sith warrior, right? Like, successfully flirt with. Which we'll be doing, of course, because we'll be a full dark side Sith warrior. But no, that story arc was decent. It was literally just scorch and burn, scorch and burn, scorch and burn. Latrice, or Latris, that's her name. An interesting example of a Sith, because she's mostly just a I don't put up with anything kind of a deal. Hell, the whole reason she resists your flirting, because there's business to be done. Once you solve your business, they're like, alright, let's go have sex. I was tasked with investigating the death of Akodomi, and my research ended with the conclusive proof he had fallen to the dark side. The Order thanks you for your effort in overcoming a dangerously unstable enemy. Left unchecked, he could have inflicted great harm on the Republic. Although it's the Order's policy to keep records open and accessible to all, I would consider it a personal favor if you do not publicize this incident. This is a sensitive time, not only for the Jedi, but for the entire Republic. Let's remember who our true enemies are. Sheriff Incott told me how to reach you. I hope you don't mind. My name's Anya Overall. I'm one of the people you saved from the Twin Sun slavers. You know, the quintuplets? The scum captured me on my sister's moisture farm and held me in the spaceport for a week. Barely fed us and screamed at us all the time. They didn't hurt us much, thankfully, so as not to damage the goods. When we heard shooting, we were terrified, and then we saw you fighting through the crowd, and it was like I could breathe again after drowning for days. We put together a gift for you. Thank you for everything. That is true, Mike Romano. And we never will. You know what's funny? I used to be upset about the fact that the Imps undo the Republic and the Republic undo the Imps. But if you think about it, it's actually a net positive in both directions. No, think about it for a second. Balmora gets saved. Cool. And Terrace gets destroyed. Cool! Win-win. Unfortunately, it isn't blown up. No, sorry. Oh, if only. We'll deal with the neck ghouls some more. That'll be fun. Flank would be unprotected. However, General Kashin. You're fortunate your team was here. The first explosion alone rattled the estate.
You smell like sweat and baradium. The smell of hard work.
If you'll excuse us, my lord.
You will brief them here, General. I am Duke Charles Organa, Lord of House Organa, and heir to the Chalcedony Star. I bid you welcome.
My Lord Duke, it's a pleasure to meet you.
The pleasure is mine. Organa's people sleep better because of you.
You deserve an explanation. Alderaan was once a republic world, but when the Queen died, years ago, chaos followed. Alderaan seceded from the Republic, and the noble houses began a war for the crown. House Organa has since been an ally and a voice for peace ever since.
Not many people hope for peace anymore.
Then the obligation falls to us.
While the Republic is backing House Organa, the Empire is backing House Thule. Thule now poses the greatest threat.
Thule defeats us, the other houses will fall, and Thule will help the Empire spread darkness across the galaxy. I know you came to Alderaan for other reasons, but I need individuals of skill and valor to beat back this evil. Help us.
What's involved in this assignment?
The Thule army is led by Baron Jarkus Thule, one of the House heirs, and their best duelist. They call him the Wolf Baron.
Since his last attack, Thule forces have backed away from the estate. They're trying to surround us at points Kresh, Osk, and Trill.
He's after the spears of Organa. He plans to turn our own weapons against us.
What are these spears?
The spears are ancient defense turrets built into the bedrock. Not up to modern specifications, still more powerful than any walker.
If you're correct, Thule will use them to scatter our forces and annihilate any strike team.
But Thule isn't expecting our new allies. Take back those turrets however you can, before they destroy us all.
Oh, excuse me. Ugh. I would say that several of the class stories really need to be mapped out. I mean, Trooper's probably the most obvious example. But yeah, I would say, what, 3 of the class stories were actually thought out front to back? Maybe? I don't know, I have to think about that. Not Trooper, and unfortunately not Smuggler either. Smuggler's story kinda ends in Act 1.
That ought to fix you.
You made a deal with a woman named Risha for this droid. I'm here to collect.
Welcome home, you ugly little thing. I mean the droid, of course.
This is no time for your juvenile jokes. We should properly introduce ourselves. I am Lady Sidonia Terran, Herald of the Gold Aurora.
And I'm her brother, Lord Len Terran, Warden of the Eternal Flame. Please call me Len.
What should I call your beautiful sister?
Seti. She loves that.
Please don't listen to my brother. He has the unfortunate quality of being an idiot. My brother and I are all that remains of House Terran's noble bloodline.
One of Alderaan's more reprehensible pedigrees, House Bayless, slaughtered our family and seized all our holdings.
You still have this old clanker, for whatever it's worth.
This droid holds new hope for us, literally. Centuries ago, our ancestors hid something inside it for safekeeping.
Pirates absconded with the unfashionable machine generations ago. Tracking it down has consumed our family since before we were born.
What that droid contains will rebuild House Terran. But we need instructions to safely open the hidden compartment. It's rigged to explode, you see.
The instructions are at our family's estate, now occupied by House Bayless's forces. Without those instructions, we can't pay you.
Are you looking to hire me?
You're obviously talented at acquiring things.
The instructions we need are in a datapad of Terran family history at our estate's library. If you retrieve that datapad, we'll add a substantial bonus to your payment.
And there are some additional family heirlooms we'll pay you handsomely to recover while you're there.
What am I looking for, exactly?
They'll be the valuable-looking things surrounded by guards.
Len, it's time for your meeting with House Organa. Don't keep their counselors waiting this time.
You just want this handsome stranger to yourself. Next time, dear sister, you get to beg our hosts for their table scraps.
What are you waiting for?
An invitation? I'll try not to come back too soon, dear sister.
Did we just...
time here, Captain. I'll go stretch my legs.
I couldn't face another dreary meeting with House Organa's counselors. Thank you for sparing me.
I've been looking forward to a private chat since I got here.
I'll try not to disappoint you. When I was a girl, I dreamed of adventuring among the stars. What's it like, living that life?
Actually, it's pretty friggin' awesome. A lot of work, but, you know.
Come to my ship and see.
That would generate no end of gossip. This is already quite a breach of etiquette, you know. An off-world man calling on a lady in private. People will talk.
Face it, you can't resist me.
I'm often drawn to things I'm not supposed to have. Regardless, I've kept you from your business long enough. Please take care of yourself out there.
I believe what I'm supposed to say here is, oh, my. No, I agree, Sarura. I do think Agent works quite well as 3 very coherent stories. That's something I can't say for most of them.
That ought to fix you.
It's an interesting thought, though. So you want to hear something really pathetic? I don't remember what Smuggler Act 2 was about. Or 3. Anyways. Who are more evil? The Oh, right. The 7 Gods in DOS 2. No question. Absolutely no question. Good Lord. As I talked about during the DOS 2 run, what the 7 Gods are doing is simultaneously impersonal and personal betrayal, which is a really, really rare and horrible combo. I probably will, Nero says. Because, yeah, I completely forgot about the gauntlet until we got to it. And it was just like, oh, right. The gauntlet. Like, you saw it. You saw it on camera. It was just like, oh, right. Yeah, okay. Okay. I agree, Damashi. On both points. Jesus Christ. Trooper Season Act 2 and Trooper Act 3. Alright, we need to put together a team! And, respectively. Alright, we need to put together a team! Well, we know Jedi Knight has some super weapon things. So that's possible. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we need to put together a team, you don't understand. Well, I would do everything in my power to kill them, Latario. Just like I did in DOS 2. And I would succeed at it, just like I did in DOS 2. And I actually did several thousand years ago, so all of human history, that's actually my fault. Sorry. I really didn't plan for things to turn out this way. On the plus side, video games are awesome, right? Like, it was worth it for video games. We got Star Wars. The real teams were the teams we made along the way. Ah! We're having layered teams at this point. Why is this not counting? Oh, because I need one more. That's fine. There we go. There we go. Yay! Where is that stupid thing? That's over there. Yeah, we got Battlefront 2. The EA version of Battlefront 2, which is such an amazing... We got that garbage Star Wars mobile game, which I've actually played, along with that garbage Star Wars mobile game, which I've actually played, and that garbage Star Wars mobile game, which I've actually played. So, I would recommend Sith Warrior, Korgoth, because both Dark Side and Light Side Sith Warrior are equally good, for completely different reasons. Also, Sith Warrior is reasonably fun to play. Agent's pretty good. Inquisitor's pretty good, and Bounty Hunter is pretty good. Now, that being said, which do I think is the best? Because I think someone asked that earlier. I have no idea. After all, I haven't reviewed them yet. Ask me again in about a month. I'll have a more definitive answer for you. I've got a bronze number and everything. So far, Trooper's bronze number is in the negatives. Will it be surpassed? Will it be even worse? Only time will tell. Yes, seriously, Damashi. Just...
Better?
We shall see. Okay, I'm going to quote that out loud, if you don't mind, Kira White Noise. Kira White Noise just said, yeah, there's 2 writing teams on tour. There's the good writers, who wrote the Imperials, and then there's Jerry the janitor, who'd been doing double shifts for a month. I love it. I give you a full multi-sentence answer, Korgoth, and you're just like, eh. I ain't repeating myself.
The spears of Organa are back in our hands.
Back with that.
My grandfather would be proud.
Our defenses are improved, but we're still vulnerable. Maybe a temporary withdrawal?
I will not leave my troops behind, General. Do not suggest it. You have my personal thanks. We will feast tonight and ready ourselves for the next battle.
Jedi don't often feast, my lord, and rarely under such unfortunate circumstances.
I see. A word of advice? Armies are not inspired by a grim-faced commander. Show spirit and a lust for life and...
My lord, there's a call coming in on your secure channel.
Thank you, Haley. Put it through, General.
It's been a long time, my Lord Duke. Who are your friends?
Never mind. If they wish to speak to the Wolf Baron of House Thule, they'll do so themselves.
Hold on, what?
I think we're starting on the wrong foot. Let's talk about this.
Yes, let's. You may have retaken the Spears of Organa, but they served my purpose, scattering your people and sending them straight into my hands.
What are you saying, Baron?
I'm saying that House Thule has taken 300 Organa citizens captive. I thought you'd want to know.
We don't need to hear any more of this.
Talk, Baron, before my patience runs out.
I'd like to meet in person to civilly discuss the fate of my prisoners. I'm sending a time and coordinates now. In the meantime, your people will be treated well. The incident with your son-in-law will not be repeated.
Damn him! Damn his eyes!
Remain calm. This is his trap.
I'm not a fool, but a ruler who cannot protect his people is no ruler at all. I have to go.
I'm not afraid of the Wolf Baron. Allow me to handle this.
You are Organa's best hope, but you will not go alone. Lead the way and I will follow. Sweep aside the Wolf Baron's black guard, his assassins. He wants to meet. Let us meet on even terms.
I can go alone. You're better off in the estate.
No. If the Wolf Baron thinks I stayed behind, he'll kill his hostages and withdraw.
House Thule will be massing its forces. I'll prepare our troops while you confront the Baron.
Thank you, General. And you. I pronounce you paladins of House Organa, my beacons in the dark. It is your valor I salute. Your word I believe. Clear the path, my friends, and let us look evil in the eye.
Okay. I can do that. Hang on, where's a mirror? Anyways. So let me give you a much quicker answer, Korgoth. Play Imperial. There you go, there's your answer.
There. Better?
I mean, it's one of those things, right? What do you think one of the reasons why Disney for years has insisted that the good people are princesses and the evil people are queens? And I know what you're thinking, oh, that's just Disney. I can think of other works of fiction that have done the exact same thing. Certain titles have just developed into having connotations for whatever reasons across, you know, United States Western culture for decades at this point. Paladin Malachor. That actually has a good ring to it. Yeah, exactly, Kira White Noise. Exactly. And yeah, we've got the good guy Duke and the evil Baron. Whoa, that's a side quest.
Ki mada tamta chiruli ya? Ji womta humpa mulira wata wompa.
Hi.
Crispa doe kanki kunke gupa.
They're, oh my god, they're cryo weapons. That sounds awful.
I hope no one discovered this the hard way.
Jotopa bubanda bakawanki.
First few died from shock. The rest are waiting to get feelings back in their toes. Yeah, being suddenly frozen would actually be really horrific. So.
Noi kuchusu yo mata chi pompota.
That's okay. Let's destroy these weapons then.
What's your plan for making that happen?
Lots of frozen come back from Lunarian, so that's where they're at.
Can you tell me anything else about this area?
Royal farmland for royal wine. Valuable. Good to hide. No, you're absolutely right, Kira White Noise. You know how I've talked about how writing tends to be a puzzle? You know, a thought exercise? Well, a lot of storytelling happens specifically because of, well, we need this to happen, so we need this to happen, so we need this to happen. For example, there's a whole pseudo, not really, story arc that isn't really fleshed out, not counting the expansions, in Tor about how the Mandalorians have formally joined the Empire. Why? Because the bounty hunter is on the Sith Imperial side. Why? Because they wanted to have a bounty hunter class, and they already had 4 classes over on the Republic. And you get the point, right? Like, it's a chain. You could follow the logic chain that led to here. Where are these things? Apparently they're off of elites? Well, okay, that sucks.
Think you're alright?
I mean, I'd like to think in a one-on-one fight, Darth Maul would take her, but I tend to rate Maul pretty highly in straight combat capacity. I mean, I've talked about this a lot. It's the reason why so many storytelling aspects happen in WoW. You're probably thinking, well, which storytelling aspects? Pretty much anything to do with the Night Elves. The Night Elves need to be Alliance. Why? Well, because we want to even up the sides. Why? Well, because we want to have the balanced things for PvP faction. Why? Well, because this is a game that's being designed by ex-raiders and PvPers from the EverQuest days. Oh, okay. And so forth and so on.
There.
So the Night Elves became part of the Alliance. And that changed a lot of storytelling in WoW's history. Where are these people? I don't like this quest. Here's one. Nope, that's an apprentice. Oh, nope, that's another. What are there so many Sith here? Jeez. I don't know, Korgoth. I do. I launched this through Origin. But If there's another method, I'm not aware of it. Please feel free to enlighten me on this one. Is Garrosh a worse leader than Sylvanas?
There.
Invalid question. Sylvanas was never attempting to be a leader. So, by default, she never was. Garrosh was attempting to be a leader. He just failed at it. Well, Darth Maul defeated absolutely no one. Ever, I think. The end. Wait, no, he did beat Qui-Gon. Never mind. I mean, I could meme on Maul, but honestly, he successfully fought 2 Jedi at the same time without really breaking much of a sweat. And then lost because of not superior skill or choreography or anything else, but because of the fact that the writer cheated. I don't know what that is, Gorgoth. Is that on the list?
There. Better?
I mean, Maul died because of bad writing. You're not going to be able to convince me elsewise of that. That was just such a dumb... After such an awesome fight scene, and I'm going to go and say this. The Episode 1 fight scene is pretty damn good. It's not top tier, but it's definitely silver. After such an awesome scene, it just flops right at the end. Just deflates, like, and it's dead. Cool.
Think you're all right?
Oh my god, no!
Let me get back to you later, Captain.
Impressive. You do House Organa proud. I can see how you managed to recapture the turrets. I am Baron Jarkus Thul, better known as the Wolf Baron. Is the Duke on his way, or did the old man send you in his place?
Organa's on his way. Don't worry about that.
Excellent. In the meantime, I have a show for you. Heranos?
My name is Brant Son. I'm an 8th-generation subject of House Organa. My family, along with many others, was captured by House Thul. They're treating us well.
Baron, what have you done with my people?
Keep your Duke on a leash, please. The prisoners are in a very precarious situation.
I'm only gonna tell you once. Free the captives, now.
I have 348 prisoners. I'm willing to make a trade.
I'll do it, Baron. House Organa isn't going to fall without me.
No. I want your friends. They will become my prisoners in exchange for the hostages.
That's an amusing idea, but nothing more.
I'm very serious. You're more useful to House Organa than the Duke. If I can take you out of commission before the next battle, why not? You can rest happily in our jails until the Republic ransoms you back, or you can have 300 deaths on your conscience.
I mean, no.
I'll turn myself in. Let the hostages go.
You will not be forgotten. I swear it.
Use the gas. Keep them incapacitated until the transport is ready.
Just all kinds of no.
No movement for hours. We're secure.
What's that? By the entrance.
Attack! Destroy the Thul invaders! Free the prisoners!
Okay, that's... I'm actually shocked! That is an astonishing amount of competency by our allies. Holy crap. Jesus, wow, hi.
Are you hurt? We came for you as soon as we heard what happened.
They had me sedated, but they didn't hurt me.
Myself and the others. The Wolf Baron freed us when you turned yourself in. Our first duty was to rescue you. But the Thule army is on the march again. We need your help. General!
What's House Thule up to now?
The Empire sent several Sith apprentices to support the Thule army. Organa soldiers are proving no match.
We're used to fighting blasters, not the Force.
So long as the Sith are in place, we cannot win. We must make a full assault on the war camps immediately.
Assuming we win, then what?
This is the greatest challenge Horse Organa's faced. If we win, Thule will be repelled and we can go on the offensive. If we lose, House Organa will evacuate and go into exile.
Go. Save our house the way you saved us.
Wow. So, to be clear, the reason I would refuse to go into imprisonment there is twofold. First of all, submitting myself to someone else's mercy is not on the table. But second, and arguably more importantly, I had no real faith that my allies would bail me out that quickly. I'm still a little gobsmacked by that. No, 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 no. Must get in range to tag! So I would say HK-47 is one of the best droids in the setting. Absolutely. Nobody likes IG-88. And Sarura is right. Maul only had the high ground from a certain perspective. Think about it. Think about it from Obi-Wan's perspective. It all makes sense. Oh my God. I liked IG-88 right up until he got involved at the Death Star. Then they sort of lost me a little bit. God damn it, now there's no frickin' Sith. There's a Sith. Nope, that's a cryo troop. There's a Sith.
Think you're all right?
Oh, there's one.
That ought to fix you.
Yeah, you asked if Qui-Gon would have seen through Palpatine. No, there's no way. I don't see any evidence personally that Qui-Gon would be capable of seeing through that type of deception any better, or even worse for that matter, than any of the other Jedi would. None of them did, so... I don't think I can do an HK-47 voice. Like, his voice is really unique, and let's be honest, probably at least partially why the character is so well remembered. Because, I forget the actor's name, frickin' nailed it. Oh, am I done? I'm done. Yay. Would any of the Jedi in this time period we're currently in see through Palpatine? Hypothetically, Jason Williams could have. Other than that, no. already put that under all, right? I did. Excellent. Yeah, Jason could just walk in and be like, Sith! Sith! Huh? Sith!
Think you're all right? Cryoban weapons. Those Thule soldiers are empty-handed now.
Did, too, from what I hear. Good work. Not like they were going to hand them over by asking nicely. I'll make sure Organa knows what you did. And these will go in the first trash compactor I find. And yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Korgoth, if you subscribe, you just get the game. It's part of them really wanting you to subscribe. After this turn-in, I think we'll go ahead and chop off for the night. Probably not Latario. But she could suss him out immediately if she tried. Other than that, no. Then again, I do think of Palpatine very highly, so... yeah, all expansions include... If you're subscribed, you get Tor. That's it. It's okay, we'll be playing again Monday, Blade Ball, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. After a rather long bonus stream today. Zactaf asks, when we get to Resident Evil 1 Remake, Chris is faster and has more health, Jill has more inventory and better weapon selection. So that's not a question, Zactaf. So, what are you asking me? Wait a minute. Are you secretly Jill Valentine? I knew it! Explains so much. Probably, Mr. Red, yeah. I mean, we're gonna manage that with Smuggler, really.
Enter, my friends, and stand before me. General Kashim reports that the Sith have been defeated. The Thule forces are scattered. Our troops are containing the enemy along the coast. For this alone, your names will be recorded in the histories of House Organa. This is a victory.
Bad writing, Lataria.
Be grateful you're not kneeling before the Wolf Baron.
I'd sooner lose my head, but I am grateful to you. Bring in the prisoner.
I will not beg. My allies will come for me.
You risked your life to save my people from this man's treachery. I put his fate in your hands.
Kill him.
Execute him. He'll be an example to the other Thules.
As you wish.
You haven't won this war. The Empire grows stronger every day, and House Thule remains its greatest weapon!
As Thule as other leaders who will take the Wolf Baron's place. And there are other houses in the war as well.
My friends, I ask you to act in House Organa's name as you travel this world. Will you represent our cause?
I'm honored, my lord. I'll do anything I can.
Once again, I am grateful.
As the Republic
will always be welcome here, and the day will come when Alderaan sees peace. Until then, feast, celebrate, and hope we live to see a kinder age.
You keep mentioning feasting. Is that just a thing for you? Is that something? Okay, whatever. Weirdos. Feasting. Which one do I play? Oh, hang on. The coin says I would play Chris. Hold on, shouldn't there have been a follow-up quest? Well, whatever. After making such a foolish mistake... Tomorrow there'll be nothing. Tomorrow's Sunday. But... what's this? My network just gave me the good news that you're back in business. I hope Skavik left your ship in good condition. So the rascal escaped justice. Yeah, he's still alive for some reason. It was a pleasure assisting you. I hope we cross paths again someday. Just received an intriguing job offer from a senator. So I may be out of their pocket for a while, but my Savik table will always have a seat for you. Thanks. Hello? That was strange. I don't know if I agree with that, Zarktoft. We'll see when we get there. Oh god, it's my worst nightmare! A quest! No!